Hello and good evening. Welcome to Blood and Song. I am your DM, Johnny, and tonight I am joined by Dan.
Hello! I was first. I'm never used to being first. Hello!
Top left, Brad.
Hiya.
Christine.
Hello.
Ryan.
Hello!
Sean.
Hello.
And Becki.
Hello.
How was everyone's week?
Good. That was a sad hello from me because I realised I joined last. Nearly last. I'm losing it, man.
Well, what can I say? Has anything interesting happened? Nothing. Has anything interesting happened to anyone this week?
We had
Anything
no snow.
We had no snow.
We had snow.
We had
Had
lots.
lovely
I've still got snow. It's still there.
Oh, shut up.
No, but it's like no. He's talking about that one bit in his garden where the sun doesn't reach. Like that's like I'm talking about like the place that the hyenas live in.
Oh god,
The hyenas live in.
It's that north-facing garden.
Yeah. The back centimetre gets like a little bit at the end.
Oh.
The end of the...
I got really excited because it got that kind of yellowy grey, and then we had 5 minutes of drizzle, and then the sun came out. I shouldn't complain about the south coast being consistently sunny, but it does make me sad because I love snow.
I like snow.
I had a childlike glee. I did.
Although, actually, I've got to say, we should mention, if anyone hasn't seen the socials, we got sneaky peek of Christine's wonderful snowman business.
Oh my god, yeah.
So this
that.
is why I'm upset we didn't get any snow, because me and my brother set ourselves a challenge whenever we are able to, because we live in the southeast, so I'm a little bit more northerly than Johnny, but I live on an island, so we get a constant breeze. We had about 15 seconds of snow. We were like, and then it stopped. So I did. We have done several different scenes. Our favourites are weirdly things from literature. So I've done a little. We used to have an old kennel at the end of the garden, so we made a little Snoopy. We did the big one that I'm really proud of is Gulliver's Travels. So that was pretty good, like the big snowman.
Yeah. What did you use for its the strings? The thing.
I just got some
tying
twine
down?
from the shed, basically, and just like props. We need props. The hard thing was finding all the little branches for everybody, all the little tiny snowmen's arms, because you have to try and do that, and they're all buried under snow, so you have to go digging to try and find the little twigs. But we've done a snowman torture scene before, where we got some ketchup out, little crosses for the eyes, and then held a can of de-icer in another twig because it couldn't be a human hand reaching in.
Really well
Maybe I
thought
should
out.
share that.
That's a snowman scene and a half, isn't it?
Isn't
Sore bathroom.
Yeah, we sat him in a chair and we got the string out again. We sat him in a chair and tied him
And
down.
you're also making another snowman, like sort of you're pinning it on another snowman. You're not even like, so no one can think it's a
Mate,
human.
you got to think about the story of the piece.
Oh.
You know, this is it.
That is
And
dark.
it turns out there was a person underneath the snow all along.
Yeah, we're finding out that Christine is actually the snowman killer.
It's just a massive cover up. I just told you we don't get enough snow.
That's why she lives on an island, because the police can't get there.
So what can you do for like, if there was enough snow there, what would you do for a Blood and Song thing? I was thinking about this the other day. We got a really nice chunk of snow and it was beautiful, but we didn't get enough to make anything out of. So I was wondering what we would do if we had a Blood and Song, if we could make some sort of snow sculpture, ice
Snow
sculpture.
pangolin.
I was going to say, surely it's toots,
Surely
right?
it's gotta be toots.
Snow toots.
It's got to be.
Mine immediately went to just 2 cops.
How would you do? What would that be though? Just
I
I don't know, you're the expert in murder
It'd be
scenes.
2 cops. Just 2 cops.
It would be 2 figures, one in kind of saffron robes. You could probably use some turmeric or something to stain the snow, and then you just have. And I will remind you of this: the dead innocent in the streets.
Hey, he's brought
So
it
it's
up.
got to be 3
And his
snowmen.
terrified friend, yeah.
And his
Yeah.
terrified friend.
Yeah.
And you could put some little yellow snow down the friend's leg.
See, there's nothing saying.
Are we
there's
doing that
nothing
one with
saying.
turmeric or that one with pea?
Well, that one would obviously be lemon juice, Ryan,
Oh,
or
smart.
apple
Didn't even
juice.
think
We're
about
not
that.
disgusting here.
I mean, you could
Well,
actually do it though,
well,
yellow snow, couldn't you?
I mean, you could. But
Well,
who
it
would
would
do
melt
that?
half the snowman, though, wouldn't it?
It depends on the thrust and heat of what occurred, Brad.
You got to cool your pea
Oh, but
first.
let's not get into
We are
mechanics.
straying
Let's
into
not get
Strange
into the
place.
mechanics of it.
This is
So what,
strange.
speaking
Too
of
far.
celebrations and so forth, it is Burns night tonight.
Burns night.
And I found out that you can go online, by the way, and so you can go online.
God.
Everyone is allowed to go online, unless you're in China and other parts of the world.
Oh, they can go online. It's just only official Chinese
Circuit.
Deeply
websites.
censored.
Some Chinese official now, Sean Scott.
Is someone else we're offending now?
They're scraping the barrel if I'm on their lists. But I didn't know that Robert Burns, the poet, whom the night is named after,
As
mean
opposed to
Rabbi
the
Burns?
actor.
Rabbi
Rabbi
Burns.
Burns. You've got to call him Rabbi.
Rabbi
Oh,
Bones, as he
sorry,
was
I'm
known.
not into the lingo. He coined the phrase "best laid plans of mice and men." I didn't know that. That's
Oftgan
awesome.
Eglay.
Yes, exactly. And then on the BBC website, you may go online and listen to the actor Brian Cox.
That's
reading
where I was
the
going.
poem out. So I thought I'd deep cut there. That's my my knowledge.
Anybody
Deep cut
who's
to
not watched our
executive
Christmas
That's a good
special,
setup. That's a good
you
setup.
need
Very
to read.
good
You
stuff.
need to.
Just
You need
plugging it there.
to listen to or watch the Christmas
a
special
subtle
to
plug.
get that.
Anyway,
well, that's
I brought my whiskey for tonight then,
Oh, well done.
and I shall be partaking of that. So Lack is going to get potentially more and more
Aggressive.
Dangerous.
stabby of innocence,
Okay,
as he did last time. I had one too many beers during a
Got to
session.
save his
so-
brother, hasn't he?
Jim Bob in the chat is asking who's wearing a kilt. No one, but I'm not wearing any pants, Jim Bob, if that helps. So, you know.
I thought we definitely had the no pants rule in this.
Yes.
I can
None of us
hide
are wearing
Ryan's
No, I've got
camera very
trousers
quickly
on.
in an
I've got trousers on. I've got trousers on. This is not
Oh.
the American pants.
I misread that
on.
quite heavily
pants.
then, Ryan, because I am from the waist down. I've still got that Movember tash,
That's
and
right. I could,
Very
I-
true.
We're not gonna.
Yeah, Bradley's got the button. He's got his finger
Yeah,
over
yeah,
the
yeah.
censor button.
I
He's
have,
got-
I have.
Christine, what have you got? What have you got in that mug? Tell me it's something
It's
that
just
rivals
tea
the,
today.
the-
It's just tea.
go get some
but-
Yeah,
whiskey.
all right, all
Put
right.
it in
No,
there.
it genuinely is. It
Might get
very
some whiskey
often
at
is
the
not. I'm not gonna let you into a little secret of the blood and song world. But today it is tea.
Okay.
But we have a break. This tea is not going to last.
I
We'll-
might
we'll a
have
little
to get-
top up in the break.
The rum or the Jura at break. I mean, I should get the Jura,
shout.
but
I've got the
Yeah.
Jura, but
Perfect.
my Jura's got this much left. So, because it's
And
so
you're
good.
saying we're not
for
worth
savouring.
it. Rabbi Burns.
And
Well,
then
it's
at the end of the
safe.
stream, well, at the end of the stream, Johnny can then say, "Why is the rum gone?" And it'll be perfect.
Brad, do you want to leave the puns for me? All right, leave the puns for me.
I want to just let you know that the other team of super fans, they pointed out to me today that Jane Goodall has written the extraordinarily famous chimpanzee lady. I'm sure there's a better way of expressing her
The lady
amazing
that-
work that she's
the
done.
and
Gorillas
some
and
say
the
she's
Gorillas
actually a
and
fan of the
Mist.
show as well.
Yeah,
So I've heard.
I've heard a
Allegedly.
rumor that she might be. But she's also written a book called Pangolina, which is a kid's book about pangolins. So
you
I
sent
thought I'd
me
bring
that.
that into the...
You sent me that link earlier, but the link you sent me said it was currently unavailable. So
That's
we're gonna
because
have to-
everyone
Not
wants
popular.
one.
Been
everybody wants it.
snapped
It's a
up,
really popular
isn't it?
book. So
Yeah.
You know,
everyone's
I
gotta
heard a
find it.
rumour that actually
Scalpers.
sold out before the PS5, which also launched on Amazon today and went. Pangolina went first. It was that's where all the bots went.
I'm not saying that she was influenced by this show, but you know,
What,
you could
Jane
put two and two
Goodall?
together.
Time is wibbly wobbly.
You know, things work in
what?
unusual
Well,
ways.
it was a bear, and then she saw the sign. She quickly just went Control H, replaced all bear references with pangolin.
Stranger things have happened. Not much
Is it-
stranger, I'll grant you.
Why?
But
Why would it be bears?
It was the first
Is it-
animal that popped into my head.
you're
Is
a
it-
druid. You need to
Polymorphed
think
into
of better animals on a whim, Brad.
Jane Goodall's the gorilla and the chimpanzee lady.
Well, she's done that, yeah, but she's already done that. So it's
She's
bears.
moved
Moved
on.
on to bears.
You know what makes me really sad about gorillas and chimpanzees? Very often now they're in captivity. Do you know who else is also in captivity?
Brilliant.
Oh, there
this
it
is a
is.
segue.
Brilliant.
It's a segue.
What a
Oh my
segue.
gosh, that was slick.
I'm getting
That's why-
better.
That's why I'm
Um,
wearing.
I mean, it was a
orange.
bit of a
bar,
bump, but I'm not
but-
gonna lie.
Look,
I was impressed.
it's about personal goals, okay? It's over the bar. I think it is time we find out what's going to happen to our very trapped party and Black right now. So let's dive into this episode's... Let me try that again. Wow, I haven't even started.
we can
drinking.
jive in if you want.
We-
But
I
that's,
want to
I don't know
jive
if this is
in.
in the world of
I
Erionwel.
feel like
Um,
I feel
do
like
I start
I feel
now?
like
Do I
just
start?
jive in is what.
Just go, just go.
Save Johnny.
Brad.
Just
Oh,
jive
let's do
in
it,
is
Brad.
what-
Let's go. and welcome back. I've had my tongue replaced during that, so hopefully now work it should. Previously on... watched too much Star Wars.
24.
Previously on Blood and Song, our party had found their way to Timbergrass and had a lovely, relaxing day, washing off the dirt of the road and recovering from their rather stressful journey in their quest to cure the plague that is covering the south of the country. Unfortunately, in the night, an assassin attacked Octavius. With the party's help, they managed to fight the assassin off, who disappeared mysteriously. Lack went chasing after them out into the streets around the same time that the Legion were called to investigate the disappearance. It turned out that Octavius hadn't been entirely honest with the party.
Barefaced lying.
Yeah, not entirely honest.
Whoa.
And
already on the sauce. It's coming
essentially got the party imprisoned. They were escorted fairly peacefully, argumentatively, but peacefully.
I feel like I wasn't the originator of that issue.
It's what happens when you sit so long in the bathtubs and have to get kicked out by the attendants.
To be fair, we ended up with the party minus Lack imprisoned in the middle of the barracks in the centre of town. A building filled with about 300 to 500 legionnaires, depending on how many were on duty at the time. What could possibly go wrong? In that time, Lack realised that the party were not where they should be, and he met some mysterious friends in a group known as the Garden. Their leader, Thorn, promised him that they would rescue them. And that is where we are picking up tonight. My God, my tongue tonight. I'm so sorry, folks. It will get better. So we are going to open with Lack.
Okay, I'm here.
So you find yourself in the office building in the back of the warehouse, and you are surrounded, and Thorn has just turned round and said, "I told you, we're going to get them out, but we've got to be smart about this."
If there's one thing I am, it's fast.
See, that worries me a little bit. I said smart.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right.
Why do I have a feeling?
Actually, I'm not. I just looked. I just reminded myself of how I'm made up, and I'm actually pretty smart. It doesn't sound like it right now, but I'm a little worried for my friends. That's what it is. I'm just a little flustered. I'll get myself together.
Okay,
Do meditation.
I get the feeling you're going to want to run off and do something a bit stupid. So I think I'm not going to pay you with fixings. And you turn around to the otter creature that you'd been with the night before, who'd led you in. He's like, "Oh, I won't do anything. I'll go with him. He's nice." Like,
I'm okay with that. It's I think we're both quite stealthy, and maybe we need two prongs of attack.
yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Right, I think the best thing we can do is scout. There's no good running in right now and getting your friends or us killed. This will take careful planning.
I agree.
So we're going to give you a bunk for the night, and we'll revisit this in the morning.
But the morning, isn't the night the best time to find out information?
It is, but I'm not sending you. You're too new. And she leans back and she just calls out, "Nimble!" And you just hear this. And then walking into the room, you see a long black beak, black feathered head, leather robes, kind of half robes down. They're slightly kind of like 3/4 length, just above the knee, cut. They've got no sleeves. Almost look like wings, but they have got fingers and thumbs at the end. Short leather gloves and a longbow hooked over the back, as well as 2 daggers, one either side. And walks and goes, "You wanted me, boss?" "Yes. Nimble. Meet Lack. Lack. Nimble. Hello there, it's a pleasure to meet you."
Tidings?
And reaches out this feathery hand.
Shake the feathery hand.
Shakes back, and it's just a nice normal greeting. You looked terrified there. It was a normal perfectly normal greeting. And
Just the accent we're terrified of, that's all. We're wondering if it's going to be consistent.
do you have any idea how much concentration this is taking?
Roll for concentration, man. Roll for concentration.
So as it was a 7 for anyone interested. Everyone goes, right, what's the plan tonight then, boss?
Right, I believe we're going scouting to see what my friend's position is.
Okay, I can get beyond that. Is it really wise for you to go with Nimble? Would you not rather get some rest?
I'm okay. And I miss my friends, and I'm worried about them, and I know them. The thing is, I know them well enough that if someone with that they don't know turns up, they might try and kill them. It's been a very tough 24 hours for us.
Times are hard right now. Well, in that case, safe journey. And Nimble. Yes, boss. Be safe. Always. And then you leave. You're led back through onto the streets. And you and Nimble start walking together through the black of night. About this time, it's probably about 4 a.m. So there's like a false light on the horizon still. But it's still dark enough that the streets aren't really crowded yet. And we're going to cut then to the prison in the centre of the barracks, where I will remind you all that most of you are in one cell, aside from Octavius, who is in a cell on his own. You have not had a long rest. You have been kept awake all night by the sounds and the other prisoners and just the adrenaline, most probably.
Can I ask, so it's been more than an hour?
Yes.
Yeah, so in which case I've got I was doing right tool for the job, so I've got my Mason's tools, which means I've got a spell focus now.
Yes.
Did we at least have a short rest then?
I'd say in that hour you could have had a short rest.
Would I be allowed to use my Song of Rest?
Do you have your instrument?
Good point.
You need a spell focus to cast spells.
So I'll focus your voice box.
I think technically anything that requires a focus as a spell does require the drum, doesn't it? It's not. Yeah.
Certainly does.
Okay, so can I ask? Are we with the cells? There's bars, isn't there, or is there some doors? Or
so behind you, essentially, what I'd said is that you'd been led through the barracks themselves. You'd passed through several guard rooms and watch posts, and you'd ended up in a room in the middle of the barracks, where it was essentially a kind of 30-foot rectangle, upon which there was a central corridor and 2 lines of cells. You were in the cells on the left-hand side. They were very thin, thin as in narrowed together, but sturdy, thick metal bars. There were no windows or any way you could see around. So the internal walls were made of the same stuff as the external, but behind you, the rear wall of both sides was thick stone.
Okay. And excuse me, is there a guard on station watching us, or are they?
You had known that there was one guard at one end of the room, because there were essentially 2 doors at either side, and one guard at the other end. That's all you'd seen.
Okay. Okay. So I think I'd probably go to the guys around us. Are those guards close enough to hear if we were to whisper?
You possibly. I'd say they definitely rolled to see if they could, but they're just far enough away that if you're quiet, it might disadvantage their attempt to do so.
Okay. In which case, I'm going to try and get the attention of people near me, and just let them know that I've got these tools now, and just whisper, I've got something. I think we could. Don't forget, I can magically tinker. So if we need a little device or something, I'm able to make those now. So leave that with the with them all.
Flip is meditating. He doesn't have his weapons, does he? They've been de-weaponed completely, I imagine.
You're basically all sat in shifts, or in your underclothes, or in your plain clothes, or whatever was underneath your various armours.
Six did manage to get his armour on before all this happened. Can he? Would everyone have been de-armoured as well, or would it just be?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
He's just meditating, and he opens up an eye, in a way cooler than I'm clearly doing now, to acknowledge what Faeza's saying, but then he returns to his meditation.
Okay. Is anyone doing anything else?
Octavius, like at the end of the last session, is just sat on his seat, silent, facing the opposite cell, sort of waiting. He has an idea of what might happen, and he's just waiting for it.
Okay.
Nothing I can really do.
Without any.
First of all, ponder why his cell's got a seat and ours doesn't. Right?
He's in the luxury cell.
Didn't we
I
say
said
premium economy cell? Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a bench, I think.
Every cell's got just a wooden bench attached to the stone wall.
Oh, I'm gonna go curl up and take a nap on that bad boy.
So I can say you've definitely had a short rest by this point, at least. So as the night draws in, a couple of hours goes past, and you begin to hear the changing of the guard. As the guard starts to change, Octavius, everyone, can you make me a perception check? Let's see exactly what we can pick up.
Right, come on, first roll of the night. Let's see where this is headed.
10.
Okay.
Got a 9.
13. Sean, you're muted.
16.
17.
Ooh!
He's back.
Brad, my dice tonight.
He's back.
Brad. Okay, so anyone under 12 just hears sounds that you don't really recognise. The situation is quite intimidating and scary at the best of times, so this is a little bit terrifying. It's very hard to focus. For those of you over 12, you hear clearly the sounds of kind of military people moving around, lots of people. Anyone who gets over 16 hears very clearly talking and footsteps heading towards the cells. Is there anything anyone would like to do?
Octavius stands up and sort of just like stands in the middle of the cell waiting.
I'm gonna secrete my mason's tools in one of my 43 pockets.
Can you make a stealth check for me then,
Okay.
please, Faeza?
This
Or
always
stealth?
goes well. Stealth?
Yeah, I'll call it stealth or sleight of hand, your choice.
Okay, I think they both got the same modifier, so 17.
Okay, so you believe you've really cleverly hidden these tiny tools that are magical in nature, so you can probably do more than they look like they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Oh,
We've
is it
lost-
Things that have been turned.
Oh, there he is.
We lost a good 30 seconds there.
Oh, brilliant. So it's I said that you believe you've hidden your your tools pretty well. It's like a paper clip and a bit of wire and something like a bit of straw and things. But you've used
MacGyver
the
makes me
knowledge
sick.
to actually imbue them with some of your magic as well. That you think these will probably do a lot more than people think they will, even if they see them. And you've stashed them in one of Faeza's many hiding places. As the door swings open at the far end, 10 legionnaires walk in. There is a very tall figure in the middle of them who is wearing a deep red cloak. He has got sleeveless tunic, and you can see his plate is not burnished, it's kind of black and tarnished. And Octavius, the moment you see him, you recognise him, but it's not who you might have thought it was going to be. Walking up straight to your cell, you know, so all the other legionnaires line up they've got their spears and their shields at the ready. They've got their indoors spears, which are the short ones. They've got a gladius by their side as well, the short sword. And they are just watching, and they're kind of in ready position for the rest of you to make a move. And this very tall, imposing man walks towards your cell and says, Octavius, it's been some time since I've seen you. And you look at him and you instantly see Akran. Akran, you remember only by his nickname from your days in the army, the Butcher. He was one of those generals who just goes off on one. And he says, how the tables have turned. Were you expecting someone else?
Well, it could have been probably one of 3 people. None of them with a U, I've got to be honest.
You always were a smug bastard. I'm glad I'm going to get to wipe that off your face, finally.
Interesting. On whose orders? Your own or someone higher?
This time, it's on someone higher.
I thought as much.
I've been asked to take you to the Tribune.
And I thought as much as well as that.
Yes, he's very interested in something you have. He believes it's his, and he wants it back.
He has no idea how to get it.
Oh, he's got some ideas. And he said I can have fun finding out.
Oh. Well, where are you taking me? To see him or somewhere else?
Oh no, we've got something much better lined up for you. And your friends. And he turns, and for the first time everyone else kind of gets a look at him. And you see, like, generic, too big military man, except this guy's got like a partially shaved head. You see it's actually got a bit of hair missing that looks like it might have just been torn out the scalp and it's never grown back. He's got scars down his face. He's got clearly missing teeth. And he looks like he's going to be a Millwall supporter. He's got just that atmosphere and energy around him. I hate to disparage all Millwall supporters. I'm sure some of them are lovely.
He's like a member of a firm, sort of Millwall support, though.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Member of a firm.
And the other thing, Six, can you make a perception check, please? I'm going to say with advantage because of your background. And remember, you are muted.
I got a 19 on my perception check with advantage.
So you notice instantly, you kind of take him in as he's talking to Octavius, waking from your meditation, and using your military eye, you glance over, you notice the spears, the gladiuses, the shields on everyone else, and you notice he doesn't have any of those weapons. And it's as he's leaning in, grabbing hold of the bars, you can see what's on his back. It appears to be a slab of metal, nearly 4 feet long. It's like pitted black. You suddenly see as he moves, glinting in the light, one side is completely sharp. It just looks like a rectangle with 2 holes, one at the top and one at the side, that look like they might be handhelds. And down the side with a slight glint, you just start to see a very thin, jagged edge. Don't really know what it is. It's not a weapon you've seen before, but it does not look standard as you.
I'm getting that. Just saying. I'm getting it.
Shotgun.
Right. Yeah, shotgun.
Wait, no, Sean, you got to roll need or greed. You got to roll need or greed. Come on now.
Wait, if you guys can wield it, you're welcome to.
So he leans in, Akron, to you at this point, Octavius, and says, "The Tribunes guess that you might be a little bit reluctant to help us, so we've decided that it's time we introduce your friends to the circus."
And what is the circus?
Oh, you haven't heard?
Oh no, that if it's something within your realm, then generally I don't have anything to do with it. It's all a bit low key, if you understand my meaning.
And he just gobs at your feet. You always were a stuck-up prick. Never one for entertainment.
and you were always an insufferable arsehole.
Damn!
Ripper's loving this. Ripper is loving
Does Ripper
this.
actually say that, or is
I'm
that
like, yeah, but
right?
I'm not. Ripper's not even paying it. He's like, because he was taking a nap when he on the bench, so he's like, he just says it. Woo! Got him!
The soldiers don't react, but Akron just looks over.
It's like that biggest dickus Monty Python. A couple of Stigger in the corner.
Yeah, it's basically that. And Akron says, "I think that it's high time that you and your friends got ready to move. You can have a few hours kip here, and then we're hitting the roads. We're taking you to Shade Mantle, and there, you're either going to give the Tribune what he wants, or your friends are fighting for their lives."
Oh, well, I won't ask you to pass on a message. You'll no doubt forget. Not that sort of thing for you, is it?
Spill the tea!
Can you roll an intimidation check, please, Octavius?
The DC is 400 to intimidate this guy. I'm sure that's the case. Isn't
4.
it?
I mean, the rest of you think it was pretty cool. Like, you've never actually heard Octavius be confrontational. So far, he's actually been, if anything, quite diffident and quite awkward, but not really putting himself forward. But this is fucking hardcore for him. But Akron just laughs. "We'll soon have you laughing on the other side of your face when we see your friends die one by one. I guess I'll be escorting you the whole way, so you'll have plenty of time to consider your words."
Oh, you'll have so much fun with us, I assure you.
"We'll see." And he turns around. "Men, with me. Let the mutts get some sleep." And he just starts walking. And they leave the room.
How many guards are left in the hallway?
You notice that there are now 2 at either end.
Okay.
I'm going to cut back at this point to Lack. So Lack, backstepping about an hour or two to you and Nimble are walking through the streets. He goes, you might want this, and gives you a kind of nondescript grey cloak to throw over your belongings.
Lovely, thank you very much.
And you kind of wrap up these deep hooded cloaks, and you go back to where the market and the trade centre had been, but he kind of stops you. You see the barracks at the other end, and just as you're about to walk out, he kind of pulls you into an alley and goes, "No, not yet. We gotta scope it out. It's gonna take some time." And then he basically leads you to a small housing block where you go up inside some stairs to the roof. And they've got these nice flat roofs here, that they've got these lips at the ends that you can kind of duck between, and you just watch. And can you make me a perception check, please?
I will try. Okay, that is a 26.
You see some monk shit. What you see as you're looking out is
I put
you
on
see,
my eagle vision.
yeah, it's literally like the Assassin's Creed, like people just start appearing in red. And what you notice as you're looking down at the building is it's maybe 200 feet long, 150 feet wide. You can see now that it's actually made up of 2 buildings. You've got the outer kind of rectangle and then an inner building. What you do see scurrying around like ants is, about 350 legionnaires. They are tooled and they look active. You've kind of seen the legionnaires walking around before in the cities or on the roads, and some of them have just seemed, on duty, but not particularly like they're waiting for something. But these frontline troops have been pulled back, and they all look ready for something to go down.
Nimble, I think my friends might have caused a bit of a stir. I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, they're powerful friends, but
I'll say, look at that! I've never seen them like this before.
Just want to say I'm very glad to have you here because without your local knowledge, I might have made a bit of a fool of myself. So,
Well, we wouldn't have gone running in there, surely.
well, I wouldn't have intentionally done so. But this is a really great roof to look at what we need to.
First thing you gotta learn about scouting is you gotta scout. You gotta make sure you take your time. Just watch
My mother
stuff.
used to say something like that. It's very true.
Wise woman, wise woman. Now, what I think we're gonna do is we sit down, watch the troop movements. We might get some idea of what's going on.
Okay, and I also would really like to know where my friends are. And I imagine if it's a prison, that they might have been divested of all of their equipment. So maybe if we could find that, that would also be good.
Right, you are. Let's have a look. Now, these military camps are all the same. And he starts pointing things out. And he points out that the outer ring, he says, well, that's probably, where they house most of the troops, the officers, those sort of things. That inner building, though. That'll be the commanders, the elite units, and probably your friends and their possessions. Getting in there is going to be really tough. In fact, no. Well, I've got an idea, but I don't think you're going to like it.
Hey, my friend, I dislike a lot of things about Janella, so you can probably add this one to that list.
Well, I was going to say, Thorn seems to take a shine to you. If you want to just join us, we could just, let it go.
Oh, that is a very nice offer, and actually one I may consider taking you up on after. But you have to understand that one of those people in there is my brother, and I definitely cannot leave him alone. And there is a friend in there who I promised that I would die before they had a problem, and so I've got to go in there and get them out now.
Okay. Right, well, let's have a look, see what we can do then. And you sit for an hour and you watch the movements. And can you make another perception check for me, please?
Yeah, it's not going to be as good as that one. Okay, that is 19.
So you see, from the central building, you see what looks, at this distance, like a tiny person, but not in army gear, just almost in messenger gear, walks out, and they fling a bird up into the air, and you see this dove just begin to fly.
Do you have, Nimble, do you have a bow and arrow?
Surely I do. And he swings round the longbow, goes, too far, pulls down, pulls out from the side you hadn't even seen, it just looks like a piece of wood, almost like carpenter's tools. He just flicks it and it goes out into a crossbow. He just points up, waits, and then shoots. And, let's do it properly. He hits. And you just see this bird just fall, splat, on, bizarrely, and almost, as though it was a plot device, on the same roof as you.
So hard it hit your camera out of place, Johnny.
Yes, it's amazing. Lack's going to forward roll, almost silently, and reach out to catch it as it falls.
Okay. Make me an acrobatics check. I don't know what the point is with them.
Yes, I will.
By the way, I've got an idea.
22.
22. So as you catch it, and you do catch it, you just roll, put one hand out, and it's like that scene in Bahubali when they're in the garden and he meets Avantika properly face to face for the first time, and he does that dance where he slides on his knee and has his hand out. It's like that.
It's exactly what I'm looking for.
Plops into his hand. And also to the audience, anyone who's not getting the constant Bahubali and Bahubali 2 references, just watch it. It'll make this show a lot easier for you.
Also, Nimble finds that he's got a tattoo of a snake on his neck at some point.
Where did that come from? Who knows? She was asleep. Seriously, watch those films. And in this pigeon, you find a note tied to it.
It's a note here. I wonder what it says.
Oh, well. Let's have a look. And as you open it, it reads, have captured the target, transporting north to Shade Mantle along the northern road. Be there in 3 days.
Okay. Well, someone's not going to get that message. That's good news. I wonder which one of my friends is the target. I'm going to imagine Octavius. He's the only one who has any links to here. So,
Oh, wait, Octavius! You're friends with Octavius? Oh, wow. Well, that's just mad.
This is weird because everyone seems to know who he is, and we don't know who he is, and we've been traveling with him for 2 weeks.
Well, I wouldn't say he's like, really famous. I knew 4 guys. They were really famous. But they're just sort of, if you know the right people in the right circles.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I imagine your friends were some kind of insectoids. Is that true?
Well, yeah.
You're
They used
all-
to always catch messengers. They used to say,
Lovely.
all you need is doves. And,
Lovely. Very good. Very good.
Quit.
Ryan's proud of that.
and a little too smug. And he says, well, gives us some options. So I think option A, we can break in and try and rescue your friends now. We'd have to go through about 400 soldiers and the elite guards. Or we wait till tomorrow and we snag them out on the road.
Ambush them on the road. That actually sounds like a better idea. More likely to succeed. The only problem is, as long as they take everyone, and they don't just take Octavius. But then I guess if they're moving on the road with Octavius, then there'll be less people in the prison, and then we break my friends out and Octavius. Well, if we get to him, that's great.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Well, I'll tell you what, I think we've got enough to get back with Thorn, and we could maybe get some other spies to watch it during the day whilst we bed down, and then give us a little bit more information.
Nice idea. Let's do it.
All
Thank
right.
you, Nimble.
Got to show you this place to eat on the way back. It's proper nice. And then as you start walking back, he'll take you via the market. And then we're going to cut back to the prisoners. You've now had... Well, it's literally the moment where he has walked out of the door. So if there's anything you would like to do...
So Octavius waits until they've all gone. And he moves towards the bars and beckons someone closer.
Faeza will go forward.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 will as well.
So, he checks. Can I be heard? Talking.
You think as long as you're quiet, you'll probably be okay.
Okay. So, I think with my spirit, anybody within 5 feet of my spirit after I summoned it, I can teleport 30 feet in any direction.
That's good to know.
So, either while we were in these cells or when we were in the carts tomorrow, I can get every single one of you out,
Okay.
depending
But
on
he
what
said-
we're packaged in.
Well, he said we were going to the circus, but he didn't say where you were going. So are
I'm
they
going to Shade Mantle.
Okay. Are they going to split us up? Is
I
this
don't know.
Right.
Octavius, can you just take a history check for me?
Oh, of course. Ooh, that's better. 17.
Okay, so something you know about the when you said the circus is there are circuses in every major city. They don't mean big top and clowns. It's far more along the lines of Circus Maximus. You know that some of the kind of more popular sports among the slightly bloodier minded citizens of Chanella are gladiatorial combats, and that normally it's criminals who are forced to fight to the death. There's no sort of gladiatorial and then you win your freedom. It is very much just you're put in fighting spectacles until they are all dead. And it's not something you've ever really had much interest in. It's not your personality, but it is the butchers.
I think I'm not sure about the circus, as he calls it, but the way he was talking, I very much expected you'll be entering some sort of fight, probably at a disadvantage.
Okay. Well, the difficulty with transporting 30 feet is we don't really know where that will land us, unless you know the building a bit better than I do.
I have a general idea of the layout. We're probably in the basement right now, but other than that, it's difficult to say. Every barracks is laid out pertaining to that needs of that legion.
Do you have a rough idea where they might have put our belongings and our weapons, and maybe Toots? Is there like an armory or something nearby?
you would know, Octavius, that standard practice when you're keeping prisoners is not to keep their stuff in the next cell, because, you know, there's enough stories of that shit happening that they are just a little wise to it, and that generally things like that would be stored in the commander's office, has like a separate area.
And no doubt that they won't be bringing that stuff with us when we're transported off to wherever we're going. So I'm a bit worried that we may need to break out tonight.
Well, look, we have an ally in that we have Toots outside. So
Right.
now I have these tools, and I have the ability to make little magical creatures. And I was wondering if maybe I could make some kind of small mechanical device which could follow a path, which then and I could also have the ability for it to record a message. So I don't know if it's possible to get a kind of message to Toots, but I just don't know what room she's in.
It sounds like
And
a
she
good
wouldn't
plan
be
if
able
you
to-
think you can make that. It's not
I
my
can make
realm.
it, but I don't know what to tell her, because I don't know
I see. I
where
see.
she could go, and I don't know what she could do. So if anybody has any ideas, I have a way of reaching an ally. I just don't know what it would be. This is my quandary.
Could we get a message to my brother? He is outside somewhere. I know he will be tracking us in some way.
Well, again, I mean, I can only program. It's a mechanical device. It's not free thinking. I don't know how it could find your brother.
I mean, as I see it, we have 3 issues, big issues. 1, we are trapped in these cells, and we're going to be transported somewhere tomorrow. 2,
Yes.
Toots is probably either not coming with us, or is in a separate area of this building, and we don't know where she is. And 3, all of our stuff is in the commander's office, most likely. And we don't know if that will be coming with us.
No.
Can I ask, is there a way, DM, for us to find that information out? Is it common for them to sort of to take our belongings with them and then drip feed them to us at the circus arena? Is that because that would sort of decide Sixsmith's decision, really?
I would say Octavius has got the current kind of up-to-date standard military practice. You have no more information either way right now to know.
Okay.
I think
Well,
we need to break out tonight, if possible. But I don't know
think that
how
there's
to
a
do
way to
it
do that.
safely. Yeah.
I
We
can
would
cause
have
a
to know
distraction.
that surely we would have less soldiers escorting us on the road than we would have in a garrison.
I'm worried
Um,
that, I'm worried that
must
our
have-
gear won't be with us then, though.
We must have passed about 400 soldiers on our way in. I feel like here is a dangerous place. We are very much surrounded, but this legion are based here, and maybe on the road is the best way to do that. Maybe your fire spirit trick is best kept until they don't know
Yeah.
about it. Maybe we need to keep that in our back pocket, as it were.
Yeah.
If we are in a scenario where some of us will have to escape, might I suggest one of the rangers or someone who can help us from afar? Maybe someone who can move faster, great distances, maybe a quieter member. I am happy to stay behind. I'm happy to
I mean,
be
I
the
can
last
help.
person.
I can help people move quieter, but not while I have no focus to channel my magic through.
Seed, can you just take a history check for me, please?
18.
Nice roll. As they're discussing this, you're feeling a little bit despondent and worried. You do remember that the Commander Gal, who'd arrested you all last night, had been very interested in Toots. That you kind of get the sense that if Octavius was interesting enough that they were transporting him, then when they were taking him somewhere more important, you'd remembered Commander Gal saying that he would have to show his superiors Toots.
Okay. I know we're all a bit worried about potentially having to leave without Toots, but do you think it's possible that such a valuable little creature would actually be brought with us? You see, I think Gao was really very interested in basically bringing Toots along, potentially, because if there are superiors who are being shown Octavius, surely they would be the same that he wanted to show Toots to. Do we think? Perhaps, maybe, Toots would come with us? And would you be able to transport Toots in the way that you can transport us? I don't understand exactly how your magic works, but would Toots be able to come if you did that?
I think if everyone was in 5 feet, that would happen. That could happen. So if we can get close to Toots, maybe this is the way to work this. Maybe we have to wait until we're on the road. I mean, when we're on the road, there are a few more things that we could throw into the mix when we're in the unknown. When the Legion is from the north, originally, maybe they don't know the terrain as well.
Yeah, the Lion was originally a border guard.
So maybe that will be our advantage. You know, I have the ability to use. They don't know I've got my spell focus. We have an advantage there. We could use that to snuff out lights, because I think a couple of us have a dark vision, so that would help us. We have the ability to create sounds and noises and distractions, and I feel there will be less of them on the road to fight our way through. So maybe the road is the best way to go. But this is if we are all going on the road.
I've fought and won many skirmishes in the unknown, but never from a cage. Maybe we should get some rest.
Like I said, I can get everybody out the cage, but once we decide on using my spirit to do that, we're going loud, because that is not a quiet thing.
Maybe there's a way to find out what this gentleman meant about the circus. Maybe we can take advantage of the fact that these guards are near us, and these guards don't seem to like you very much. I'm very sorry to say, Octavius, I don't want to offend you.
There are some in the Legion that will still consider me a friend, but probably not here, not under the butcher.
Well, maybe we could take advantage. I'm afraid I'm not very good at it, but sometimes people spill information when they feel superior. So maybe there's a way of tricking them into telling us more about the circus.
So you mean we want to play on the fact that they don't like us, and therefore they'd want to tell us if they're going to do something horrible?
Maybe if they're scared, maybe they think that we're scared of the circus, or maybe they think that we're not scared of the circus. Maybe they'll want to make us scared of it. And I think she looks more pointedly at Ripper, and then says, well, you know, some people might be better tooled at this than others.
Ripper, we need to know whether the weapons and armor are coming with us to this circus. That's one of the things
I think we need to know if we are going to on the same journey as Octavius. If we are going on the road.
I would expect so, because he. So I think we've all. Yeah.
The circus is at Shade Mantle. We are all going to Shade Mantle.
Well, I think we are.
Octavius does not give the Tribune what he wants, we will fight in the circus on his behalf. Octavius, what is the Tribune, and
the Tribune
what is it that he wants?
The Tribune is most likely my brother, and what he wants is the spirit.
Fire spirit.
And how do you feel about the spirit, Octavius? Something you can part with or not?
I don't want to, but if he threatens all of your lives, I may have to. But there's no way of me. There's no way of me parting with the spirit while I am alive.
Oh.
And as you're talking, you haven't summoned it, but it's just going to burst into existence, flaps around, just sits on your shoulder, cocks its head, and
Octavius flinches. Doesn't look at it, but he flinches.
It is important to you, Octavius, and it requires your death to part with it, then I am fairly certain we're all in agreement that that will not happen. And thank you for explaining to us. I think we will all go to the same place, but we need to know if our weapons and armor will come with us. That will allow us to decide whether we leave now or leave tomorrow. Ripper, I believe this is a task for one such as yourself, a charming one of our companionship.
Maybe
I am mostly in agreement with Faeza. Sorry, Faeza.
No, that's all right. Well, if the tools are important, if, as Seed understands, Commander Gow would bring Toots because he is interested in Toots, maybe we can make him interested in your tools and your equipment. For example, the spear that you throw and then it comes back, and maybe that would make it of interest to take on the journey with us. And that way to assure that comes. But maybe we should find out a bit. I think we need to find out if the party will be split up.
I suppose the only risk, if we make the weapons themselves seem very interesting, is that then they would be more likely to keep them somewhere else that we couldn't get to them, as in they might distribute them to other legionnaires or give them to somebody to use. Whereas I suppose if we can somehow persuade them that if we were to go and fight in the circus, it would be a more entertaining fight, a better fight, if we were to be given the things that we normally use. I mean, ultimately, is that not, to my understanding, what these things are? They are for an audience.
By needing my death as well, they will most likely throw me in the circus with you.
Gosh.
So perhaps we could, I know it sounds very grim and unpleasant, but
Ripper takes this moment to swing off of the sleeping bench and sort of sit up facing you guys, waiting for Seed to finish.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just wondering whether if we're trying to persuade them of something, whether perhaps it could be worth giving them the sense that we would give more spectacle and a better show if we had our own things with us, instead of making them sound appealing for them to steal.
Suppose we need to work out how to do that then.
Ripper's going to get up, he's going to walk over to the group, and he's going to go, right, I need one of you, not very hard, punch me in the nose, right? Not very hard.
Sixsmith just goes straight in for it straight away. That
I'm
seems
assuming
like
you're allowing him to hit.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Just roll a d4 for me, please. 6. Oh, sorry, you don't. What's your strength modifier?
Oh, fuck, it's huge.
my strength modifiers +5. You're talking
You
about
do
in my
5
top bar,
points
yeah?
of damage.
Okay.
As so Ripper -5 as he
And
just smacks you in the nose.
Everyone
Blood
that's
instantly.
everyone that's been punched, not hard enough that it bleeds, but just hard enough that the eyes start watering. Like we've all been there. Like even if you get a bump on the nose,
It's almost worse in a way. It looks like it's just
right,
it's
just
about to
enough, and I'll
cry.
take the 5 points damage, and then he turns to the bars and he goes, "Excuse me, China. Excuse me, God. God."
I'm not finished with you. Six shouts.
Two of the guards just looking, and you can see some of the prisoners in the other cells, like getting a bit restless now at this kind of loud distraction.
Excuse me. Excuse me. The circus thing that King told us about. Am I going to die in there?
At this point, one of the soldiers will walk over.
Have I
And
got
Give me
fight?
my sword, and I will chop you down myself.
Do I get my own weapons? Like, do I get my own stick to fight with, China? Or am I
Better give me my weapon in the circus so I can chop him down myself.
you lot are really weird.
Don't I know it?
I just don't want to die. I just don't want to die. Look how beautiful I am. I'm not even made for this place.
Hey, calm down, big guy. I've got good news.
What?
You are gonna die. Slowly and painfully in the circus. I wouldn't worry about it. Isn't that a weight off your brain? Now you know it's gonna happen. Just sort of accept it.
Yeah, but do I at least get to defend myself with my own stick, Governor?
Oh,
Please,
yeah.
Gov, give me the information.
I make a deception check.
I've gone more for performance, if anything. The punch in the
It's
nose.
exactly what you were going for, but you are trying to deceive them.
Fuck, I'm just throwing my dice. No, I've got to get a sub one. Sub dice! Where have you gone?
Doesn't
If
count
it
on the
works,
floor.
then it switches round, and then the other one's your sub dice. That's how it works.
That is a 19 deception.
Ooh.
So guard says,
Please, God.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
You'll get a weapon. Don't worry about it. Yeah, well, it's more fun that way, isn't it?
So I get to
Hey.
use my holy stick.
I'm guessing it's gonna disembowel you, you crazy, ugly, horrible, annoying person who talks all the bloody time. I'm gonna kill you.
Hey, you there with you. Shush. Holy stick? What, your holy stick?
It's got bloody holes in it, this man. He doesn't even know it. It's got bloody holes all over it. He thinks it makes a funny noise when he goes around like an instrument. You know, we used to be in a band. We used to write things together. Now look at us. We're like bloody two brothers on two sides of an oasis.
Oh yes.
I like that. That was
"That's good. That was very nice."
It's just sorry, Gov. It's just only because I'm a servant of Illyria, you know. So like anything I touch is like, you know, it's blessed, isn't it?
Well, servant of Illyria, I've got a little bit of advice for you.
Yeah. Yes, Gov.
Shut up and get some sleep, because you're not getting a lot tomorrow, and it's disturbing the other prisoners.
And he sort of stands up, like instantly breaks character. It's like, cheers, Gov. See you later, mate. Good night. And he just goes back and like, sits back on the bench.
Soldier gives you a weird eye.
And before the soldier leaves, Faeza's going to lean over and go, "Excuse me, I'm really sorry, but I don't suppose you know how
Oh, yeah.
far how far away is this circus? Because you need I only have very little legs, so I'd like to put on a good show in the circus when we do our tricks and our stuff. So I'd hate to be too tired for it. So
Kneels
yes, I'll
down
sleep.
on his hilum. So he's like doing that thing, like leaning goes,
Oh, I wouldn't worry.
and you can just smell like onion on his breath, and it's really quite strong. He's clean shaven, but he smells of stale sweat and onion quite badly as he leans quite close to the bar and goes,
Your little legs won't have to do any walking.
What do you mean?
Oh, you'll be in a cage on the way there, don't worry. But when you get there, guess what?
What?
You'll be in another cage. But after that is the last cage. Because then you're going to die. So, you know, swings and roundabouts in here, really.
Oh golly. I hope you don't mind, but I'm allergic to horses. And I just wondered if there were horses anywhere near that cage, or if we were going to be all right.
Well, I guess you'll find out in, a few hours now. Night-night.
and gets up and walks back.
But as he turns his back to her and he's walking away, can I use prestidigitation to make him smell like he has, and to in fact soil his trousers, please? It's the first time using prestidigitation as a punishment on a guard. Show his side of himself.
Would
So-
any of the rest of us know, by the way? Because that's quite shockingly unphaser if you ask Sixsmith.
First thing is I'm going to ask you to look
see,
at
it's on the
prestidigitation.
Faeza, you've got to know it. Yes, prestidigitation, please.
If you could look at prestidigitation, does it have a vocal component?
Oh, cock it. Hold on. Hold on.
And then what do you say?
It
shit,
does have a
bruv.
verbal.
Smell like shit,
It does
bruv.
have a verbal.
In
thing.
that case, I'm going to need you to make I'm going to call it a sleight of hand or a stealth check to try and hide the fact you are casting a spell.
Got 3. Oh wait, hold on. Slight check. Sleight of hand. 4. Is that better? Probably not. Can I say it in Gnomish? Is that all
So
right?
you say it in Gnomish, and here's an insult he doesn't recognise. Turns around to look back at you, and basically sees this tiny thing in your hand, and he's like, "Oh,
Damn it.
No.
gets out his spear and goes, "Oi, Herbert!" And the other guard comes up and he goes, calls down to the other ones, "Get your belt ready." And you see one of them reaches up and there's like a cord hanging from the door and it's like,
Give us your little trinket.
Okay, she passes it over to him.
takes it, just snaps it, throws it
Scowling
on
at
the
him.
floor,
Okay,
None of that.
and walks back to their
Okay.
post.
she's going to go and sit in the corner and use right tool for the job and start to make another set of tools.
Okay.
That's all right.
Well, you are being watched now very
Oh,
closely. So are you
what?
going to?
I won't do it immediately.
Their side or
Do you want to
both
just?
sides?
Do you want to just sit? Do you want me to sit on the ground and you can just sit in front of me on my lap doing it, and I'll hide you in the corner so no one can see what's going
We'll
on.
just have a scrap, you and I, like a pretend, like not like a really like out and out scrap, but just a rough and tumble like wrestling scrap.
For an hour? For an hour while she makes tools?
It does take an
I got
hour.
the stamina for that.
All right, about 10 minutes in, and then figure something else out. We're just trying to put a bit of smoke screen while the guards are
Why-
so they get
Okay.
Why don't we
bored.
Is
just
anyone
stop
else
watching.
actually going to sleep, or are they all going to stay
I'm
awake? And
planning on going
Are they
to sleep.
making a distraction? I'm gonna wait a sec.
I think Sean's
I
plan is
think
to make a
I
distraction for an hour
I
while
will
she makes
sit
tools.
down for an hour
Mhm.
to allay their suspicions, probably roll over on my side so that they think I'm going to sleep, and then
Okay.
I will make my tool.
I'm going to sleep. Ripper's going to sleep.
Oh, okay. I will go to sleep then.
From that
E6.
conversation with that guard, we inferred essentially that we
He was
we
such
get
an
given a
arsehole. I
weapon.
really wanted to foul his trousers. I really did. And I couldn't
There's
get away with
plenty
it.
of trousers for you to foul. Don't worry. So can we infer that we get? So we infer that we get our weapons from that conversation. From that.
And
what that
I
guy
would
was saying.
assume stuff to.
I think we get given weapons, not necessarily take our own.
Okay.
They said a weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
fair
also think that because of the being in a cage and then being in another cage suggests that we're moving,
enough.
which
And
would
also,
suggest to me
yeah,
that
we'll
we're
need to-
probably going to be traveling with Octavius.
But we will need stuff. Yeah, I guess telling you that you're going to be traveling in a cage means we're going to be traveling, which is fine.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to need to get our stuff back to be able to cast stuff.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
don't think we've got much control over that.
Can I
So
just do a quick rule check actually on when we do get our focuses back? So are we can't do even just verbal and somatic stuff at the moment. Is that off the table as well?
I would say no, don't do that because that will absolutely freeze my computer. Technically, all magic needs a focus to cast it. If it's like a cultural ability or something that's kind of innate to the character, I'd kind of consider it. But I'm going to play it by like an ad hoc basis. Certainly for things like your bardic magic, which is very tied to your drum because of what your drum represents. That's going to be a little bit different. So yeah.
Is it not something where could she? So her drum is her specific drum has become her magical focus. But can this is just a rule check as well. If she was able to fashion another instrument, could she use that?
Yeah, absolutely. The drum in itself, as far as you know, isn't inherently magical. It's that Seed has bonded with an instrument and it has become part of their magic and part of their ritual and part of their use.
Okay.
It's the how can I put it? It's the instinctual way that whenever there's danger, they go for the drum, rather than going to sing or something. They probably could do something vocally, but
So-
it's not their first go-to.
But if she could, like, for example, get a couple of sticks, she could use that as a, like, you know, drumsticks sort of thing. or
Yeah, I thought
something.
Potentially.
I've got to be honest. I
Like on
did
a
think it was
table.
only the material cost, the material components that this thing subbed in for. the
I think there's
focus.
loads of variants of the way you can play it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, as DM says, I suppose. if
Johnny wants
it's-
to hamstring us as much as possible.
Well, I'm okay with it sort of being ad hoc and cinematic. It feels right that some things can't be cast without the drums. You know what I mean? Things like that. So I think it's sort of like, yeah, I don't mind it being a bit more cinematic, ad hoc.
Well,
I don't mind, you've got.
I just think that a
sense of
culture where you're
what to
all
do.
in prison and prisoners are all just like firebolts.
Yeah, they would
making
take the
weird
things
stuff
away
happen,
that
like,
allow us to.
That's
yeah.
weird that people could
It's
just
not
do
right.
that everywhere. Like prisons would have to
Yeah.
become so insanely magic proof that you could never come up with a plan to escape, which
Yeah.
would be
Otherwise, they'd never be able to imprison any bard at all, would they?
yeah, it would just become horrendously dull for literally everyone else. I'm like, "No, you're in a magic prison. You're staying there. At least here you have. I know it's very restricted, but you do have options.
Well,
Um,
Six is going to take that option to go to sleep, but
Okay.
but before that, I think he's going to just go up to the cage to Octavius and ask him about the butcher. Just before I go to bed, a bedtime story, if you would. What do you know of the man that came in with the tall figure with the cloak and the black tarnished plate. What do you know of him and his weapon?
Well,
Channel your inner Ripper and spin us a wonderful tale.
Oh, I don't know really any tales of him, other than he's known as the Butcher, and with good reason. I wouldn't say he's much of a tactical planner, and more of a, if I bring more numbers and slaughter everybody, then who's to say that I didn't have the right tactics sort of guy.
See, Faeza, that's the kind of guy whose pants you soil.
Well, I don't know. I think I would have lost a little bit more than just a snap tool, though, to be fair. Did you see the blade on his back? That's not normal.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Okay,
But
so
anyway.
as you're bedding down for it's now the morning. You can't see the sun because there is no light where you are aside from the torches and the oil lamps on the side of the very far end of the prisons. But it is morning, so as you start to sleep, we'll see how far you get. And this feels like a good point to call a break before the next day's shenanigans go down. So everyone at home, you have time to grab a drink, nip to the loo, and we will see you shortly. back. We trust you had a nice break. I did. I hope the party did. They enjoyed their rest. I got a few stinky eyes at break time.
The calm before the storm, yeah.
Calm before the storm. So, without further ado, we're going to open up again with Lack. You've been taken back to the warehouse, and you go back, and there are about 10 members of the garden there, and again, all of them in various places over their body. You recognize again that symbol of like 3 daggers pointing down, like roots going up to a small rose growing out of the ground, and the rose in each of them is blood red, whilst the rest of the tattoo is black. And whilst you're kind of bedding down trying to get some rest, you hear people turning up and talking about troop movements, discussing possible routes, and it's up to you whether you actually want to try and take a long rest or whether you are going to stay awake.
I mean, I'm quite nervous for my friends, but if we're not going to attack until tomorrow morning, Lack knows the quality of getting a good night's sleep or a good night's meditation. Healthy mind, healthy body, more useful to his friends.
So we'll say that you're gently awoken by this point, probably nearing 2 in the afternoon, by Nimble, who is there, his long beak looking down, and goes, "All right there, to sleep okay?"
I cleared my mind before, had some slightly interesting dreams, but I think I'm ready.
Great. Right, well then, we've got a little bit of a plan. We found out that they're going to be taking them out by the North Road, which I know it did in the letter, but we did a little bit more digging. And we think they're going to be fairly lightly guarded. So we've got a chance.
Good.
Come with us. I think Thorn and the others want to say something. So you come
Lack
back.
like springs out. He's one of those annoying people. Springs out of bed. There's no roll. He's like, "What? He's up and he's good. He's good to go." Woof.
You walk back into, again, this back office of the warehouse. You'd been sleeping on some pallets with like potato sacks and things. And Thorn is there just looking over a very crude map of the Imperial Highway. And everyone's around. You see kind of fixing, just jumping up and down, trying to get some pictures. And some other folk there looking in. You were introduced to one called Bramble, one called Biscuit, who one's a catfolk, one's a tabaxi. And another one looks kind of vaguely human. And but except the eyes, like when they blink sideways.
Nice.
Rather than up or down. And as you're all looking over this map, Thorn says, "Right here," stabs her finger down, "by the ruined farm copse. That's where we're going to take them. They won't expect it. There's some decent tree cover. There's a bit of a ruined building. I think we're going to have to go in 2 prongs. Half of us to draw them off. A couple of us to stay behind. And try and free the prisoners. We found out there's going to be a convoy, so there's going to be a few of them out there tomorrow. At least 3 prison carts. We can only assume that we know that Octavius is going to be one of them. And the best we've been able to tell, we think your friends are going to be there with him."
Okay. Well, may I volunteer myself to be in one of the ones that frees the cart? I'd like to be in the thick of it, if that's okay.
Well, that's what we would suggest, yes. Good thinking. So I think that with you,
Nimble raises a sort of feathered hand. "I'll go with Black Boss if that's all right."
Lack like puts a hand round him. "I like this man."
yes.
And then he looks, he does a double looks like, okay, doesn't know.
Nimble
What, if
doesn't
he's a
seem
man,
rather
if he's a what he is, or
The Kenku takes it in the good spirits that it's meant, rather than, I think that it's a symbol of affection, clearly, rather than some kind of speciesist. Like that kind of thing doesn't really exist in Erionwel. There's never really
I
been
don't think it was lack of was that. It was more like gender, because he's got Siege in his
right.
group as well, so he's aware of those kind of things now.
Okay. He's not offended.
It was all
at
well
by
meant.
it. Yeah. He just smiles. And he's like, "Hi, brother. I think he's pretty good. Yeah, I'll go with him. He's nimble. Just like me."
I see what you did there.
Hey. And he does like a little finger guns thing. It's very awkward in a fantasy realm.
Yeah, it sounds pretty awkward. Yeah.
It's like imagine Qui-Gon Jinn just suddenly pulling out finger guns.
Yeah,
Feather guns,
Really
isn't
out
it?
of place.
It's feather guns. He's flapping his feathers at him.
And it's just really soft, gentle ripples in the wave. And so they go, right then, let's make a move. And you're going to grab your things, and you are escorted out of the city. You
Just
are
before we
going
go,
on feet.
sorry, Lack's gonna just move. Like he's gonna stand next to Thorn as all the other garden move out. He says, "Listen, Thorn. I don't know how to put this politely, and I mean it politely. I haven't met anyone yet that I can trust, except for these 5 other people. Everyone here has been horrible, and I'm putting my trust in you because I need to save my brother. I hope it's not misplaced. I think I like you."
She reaches out an old weathered hand and puts it on your shoulder and looks you dead in the eye. And you can see through her kind of greying fur the vibrance of her eyes as she says, "Black, we are thieves. We are criminals. And that's why you can trust us. We don't pretend to be anything more than what we are. We stand for something greater than petty theft. If we can pull this off, you owe me a debt. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because this is the right thing to do. Not just for your brother, but Octavius as well. If we can work together, we can build trust over time. I offer you no more than that, for any more is a fool's errand."
Thorn, that's all I need. And maybe on the way you can tell me a little bit more about Octavius, who seems to be some kind of rock star around here. You can tell me more about him.
I feel that's not necessarily my place, but I would say this. I don't know what you know of your companion, but he has a noble lineage, and whilst he has never been one to put himself forward, there are those that respect him greatly.
Well, I hope I learn to do the same. One last thing before we go, you have some people waiting behind, right? I think it's a personal thing. It seems so petty right now, but we have some horses in this town, and I have a bit of a thing for losing horses. We left them at the inn. They're called Cousin and Second Cousin, and if you can look after them, at least in the next time we come back, I'd really appreciate it.
If I might make a suggestion. Why don't you take Nimble and get them on the way? You can hide them with the rest of our transports.
I love it.
I don't
This is
think
why
leaving
you're the
them here is a
brains,
good
Dawn,
idea.
huh? And I'm just almost clever.
Well, we'll see. Good luck. I'll be right behind you.
Brilliant.
And she just starts doing things. At which point, you head back, get the cart, and with a very small cohort dribbling out 2s or 3s, you notice that the gates north to the Imperial Highway, it's a new part of the road you've not seen. The road itself is still immaculately kept, but there are a lot more guards at the gate, and they are checking through things. You're a little bit tense as it comes up, but Nimble passes over something, and just make a perception check so you can see what it is.
Okay. 22. I'm
So-
anti-Brad today.
You assume it's probably, you've been in Chanel a while, you assume it's probably like a packet of gold or something, but actually you see it's not. It appears to be like a small bit of paperwork, and with the 22 you see the symbol of the garden on it, and the guard takes it, looks at the cart, just kind of folds it up under his breastplate, and you just hear him murmur, "It quadseminas." At which point Nimble goes, Kreskit. And then you leave without any further ado. You're heading north whilst we're going to cut back to the jail. Inside the barracks, you all wake. It is not a restful night's sleep. It is not a particularly comfortable night's sleep, but it is a long rest, so you can now complete your long rests. You are woken... it's about 5 in the evening, so it's actually very, very late. You've slept in as far as you can tell. Not that you have any sense of time, but just to give you some perspective, by jangling of doors, and as the doors open, you see 20 legionnaires walk in with manacles.
All right, well, here's my group. She will
Yeah.
send in another sort
20
of
for you,
5
eh?
for the rest of them, yeah? Right?
You see that all of them are very well armed, and you don't need a perception check to see that they do not look like they're going to respond to you. Six and Octavius instantly recognize, again, battle-hardened frontline troops who are considering that they're doing a job beneath them, rather than your kind of normal slovenly town guard who don't mind you a little bit of banter. They just don't reply to you. And as they come...
cheer up, boys. We're going on a journey. Come on, and we're going to be a long time. We might as well... Look, that one, 8th down on the right there. Yeah, I see a little smirk out of you, right? You must be green. Yeah, I see you.
You can see why I left Ripper.
Oh, what? Because they were all funnier than you?
Because of his budding sense of humour.
Yeah? They were all funnier than you, so you decided, right, well, I can't stand this. Look at that! 17 on the left there. He's chuckling as well now. Yeah.
I was trying for some rapport there, but if you're going to throw it back in my face...
No, that was good. That was rapport. bit of back and a bit of forth. Hey, if we're all going to go and die in this arena, we might as well have a bit of fun on the way.
A legate walks through in his orange, slightly kind of orange under tunic. You know to be, Octavius, you know to be kind of like one rank above the common soldier. These are the guys that would, generally give dog's body commander's tasks. They're essentially like your sergeants.
Yeah, sergeants, yeah.
And they come around and goes, prisoners, present your hands, stand back. We will call you one at a time. Accept your bindings peacefully, or you will accept them unconscious. The choice is yours. It makes little difference to me. You, there. You first. And he points towards Faeza.
Faeza steps forward and holds out her hands.
And he's got dinky little manacles. And he does, it binds the wrists. He gets you to bind your own ankles. And they have, again, kind of the 2 chains between the 2, and then 1 chain that connects them all. So it's essentially in like a capital I, so that you can sort of move pretty freely like that. That's gonna be crap for the podcast. Sort of in front of you with your arms level with your hips. Yeah, essentially. But you can't lift your arms over your head or move them apart with any kind of freedom. You can walk with an awkward little shuffling gait, and then you are led out and out of the room. Once you have left by 2 of the guards, 18 left, 2 of them again call forward and they point to Seed. You, come forward.
Okay.
And again they offer out manacles. Are you accepting them peacefully?
Yep.
You are bound and you are led out of the room. They sort of eye the remaining 3 of you, and then they look to Six and go, you next.
Six rouses from his meditation of sorts. He steps forward and he goes to put his hands forward, but he just holds them down slightly, just not offering them immediately. And he says to the guard, "Sir, there was an urn amongst my belongings. It is very precious to me, although it has no combat, any benefits in combat, but it is very precious to me. I wonder where it might be and whether I might get it before I am taken to the next life via your circus."
He looks at you. He doesn't say anything. The legates make a perception check.
13. Oh no, 16. Sorry, I didn't add my modifier.
That's much better.
16.
You see him, just the corner of his eye just twitch to the side, looking at the door where kind of the 2 guards have been, and you can see now the butcher is leaning against the wall, and he says, "No talking."
Okay, Six gives him a protracted stare, not an aggressive stare, but just a stare so that the butcher won't forget him. And he puts his hands out to be shackled. And he now knows that there's something, he's at least gotten through to the line, to the ranks. There's at least a connection he's now got with the butcher. So he allows himself to be shackled.
Okay, so you're shackled and you are led out.
Right, funny man, you're next.
Turning to Ripper.
Oh God! Right, well,
you
you're
noticed
only
then?
going to leave the rest of them there, aren't you? So, all right, let me tell you guys a story, right? While you're doing this, yeah, there was this one time.
As you
right,
start
where I was
talking,
like,
whack! Just a spear straight across the head. For a 18 to hit, which I'm guessing is going to hit with no armor.
Yep.
Take 8 points of bludgeoning damage.
Thank you. Which is ironic, because that's actually how the story ended.
Are you putting your hands out to
Yeah,
get
and
manacles?
as the guy puts manacles on, I'm going to try and lick his face. Just a little,
Make
give him like a little kiss,
Okay,
Try and give him a little kiss.
make a dex
Like
check.
when
I know exactly what
fighters,
you mean.
like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Make a dex check.
Oh fuck. It's a 6.
You rolled a
Gonna fall
13.
over.
No, you go to do it. He just pulls back and whack again. The guy behind you just smacks you around the head for. He hits you, but you just take it.
And
Roll
that
it,
is how the
2.
second story ended as well.
And so you are manacled
Not
And
for the
you
first
are-
time.
led out again. The rest of you are being led out, and you're walking back through corridors that you vaguely remember seeing last night, and you come out into a small courtyard in between 2 buildings. You do walk up 3 flights of stairs, and you see 3 iron carriages. They're essentially prison cells on the back of carts. They've got iron floors, iron roofs, iron bars neatly tied together. Faeza, can you just make me a perception check, please?
That's 12.
Just enough. You notice as you're glancing around, right at the front of the front carriage, the prison cell there is a lot smaller. And in front of it is, that only has bars on 3 sides, and then there's like a steel wall. And on the other side, the steel wall's kind of nearer the driver. And in between that, you see a large amount of packages and items. And just poking up, you can see clearly Toots' head. She is currently depowered. She's gone into her rest mode. And she doesn't seem to respond as you come out. You assume that she's probably still manacled and bound like the rest of you, but you can see her at least. And you are loaded up into some carts. I need to close things and move back to that one so I can see. So you are taken to 2 of the carts. Faeza, you are put into the middle cart with Six and a prisoner that you don't recognise who's already standing there waiting. He's bound a lot less tightly than the 2 of you, only his wrists are bound, and he's sort of got ripped clothing and looks like a common criminal. Ripper and Seed, you are put in the rear cart. You are put in the prison. It's very clearly locked, and you are also joined there by a prisoner that it just looks like an old man rocking back and forth, again manacled.
All right, Maka, what they got you in here for?
Just cries. You just hear that soft, blubbering cry as he's shaking. We're going to
Cheer
cut
up,
back to the
mate.
cells. Octavius, there are still 10 guards just staring you down. The legate kind of looks at you, looks at Butcher, looks back at you, comes in. Your hands, please, sir.
I offer my hands. But I do say, I have my emblem on display, and I say,
Yep.
How does it feel to betray a comrade to a power-hungry madman?
He's going to bind you, but as he starts binding you, he's going to knee you. He just knees you in the stomach, and as you go over, you kind of drop to your knees a little bit. You take 2 points of damage. He is going to lean down and whisper in your ear,
I'm sorry, sir. You're not alone. I wish things were different.
and then just kind of pulls you up and pulls you out to the courtyard where you're taken as well. And you are put in the front carriage. You are put into the front cell on your own.
Is that with Toots and the rest of the boxes?
Yeah, Toots is on the other side of a steel wall from him. So it's like cell, steel wall, front of the carriage where like the horses and the person sits. So there's like a little storage compartment in between the driver and this steel wall where the cell starts. So your steel cells are maybe like 7-8 feet wide rectangles on the back of carts. His is very much a one person can stand, can't really sit, maybe 2 feet by 3 feet cell to allow for room for storage. It's early evening at this point, and the carts pull off. You two make your way north. Travelling takes everyone, both Lack, several hours ahead, and the party, hours. Lack, you don't actually stop travelling until the early hours of the morning. It's like 3-4 a.m. the next day, probably actually a little bit later, about 5 a.m. The sunlight's just peeking over as you get to a stretch of highway with some rocks to the south and some sparse trees and a broken building. In fact, I'm going to ask everyone to look at Foundry now. Lack, you will need to do it first off. You might need to refresh your screen, please, folks. I need to activate the map. That would be a sensible thing.
Activate the map.
I've also just realised I may not have configured it. Let me just check that you can actually see it. Smooth. Yes, no, you should be able to.
I see the map named Rescue.
Attempt.
It's just
So,
Yes.
hopefully, we'll see how this goes. So, Lack, you let me know if you cannot see the map and I can describe things more clearly. But you essentially, you're led here and you've got your party with you now of these 5 compatriots. You know that 3 of them are going to be used as distraction, and you and Nimble are essentially going to get a chance to position yourselves to lie in ambush. The party goes straight to the tail of the road, which is in the north. So essentially we've got a rectangle with the road running from southwest to northeast in a strip, and right at the northeastern edge you see that they start laying some very, very thin wires and some caltrops, and you see Thorn herself go up. She pulls out like a dagger which has got an emerald on its hilt, and she places it on the stone, reaches her other hand down and just closes her eyes, and then this sigil just appears and then disappears. As you're looking, you can just see the faint outlines of where it was. And she says,
That'll be a nasty surprise. Should get them to stop. Everything else is up to you.
Okay. I shan't step on that then.
and so once the map is loaded, you can essentially tell me where you would like to position both yourself and Nimble.
So Nimble's like a shooty, isn't he?
He is not working. Oh, because I'm on the wrong button. There we go. Nimble is, you've seen he's got 2 daggers by his side, and you've seen that he's got a longbow
and
a
nifty
crossbow.
Nimble, I don't know about you, but I think you might be best served in those bushes and trees on the east side. You can continue to maintain cover even while shooting from there.
I like trees. Yeah, I could do that.
And if you need to break, it's not too far to run in and finish them off with those quite nasty daggers I see you have in your hand.
Do you know what? I'll see if I can go climb him. Give us a sec. And see, Nimble is going to head over to the trees on the eastern side then, and going to attempt to climb up with a terrible roll. So he's going to use skill. And then, so that becomes a 21 with a roll of a 6, and just climbs up into the tree. You see him kind of steady himself against a couple of branches, goes, "Ooh, just like my grandmother's, quiet at home." And you just see him rest one hand on his quiver
So this building structure, how stable does it look?
It's lasted out here, so it's stable enough that it's not going to cough and it's going to fall over. It possibly could be broken down. You see some rocks on the very southern side of the road that may once have come from this house that have been weathered over time, or might just be rocks. They certainly seem to be this in the stone. It's sort of an abandoned cottage.
Okay.
Essentially.
I'm just wondering whether one of those walls could be pushed down to collapse onto people on the road.
It's not so. Although the road is sort of 5-10 feet away, they aren't really big enough. They've sort of become, think kind of Shetland walls, where they're down to about your waist height. You could hide behind them quite comfortably.
Okay.
To use gaming parlance, they'd probably give you half cover, but they're not enough for full cover.
Okay, so I will position myself on the opposite side in the ruins, but on the west hand side there's that west hand hole in the ruins, so just in that corner before there, so I could be able to see over and come round, as it were. I can see through the doorway, what I imagine was originally the doorway, to see the carts, and then it gives me 2 exits really.
Okay, so you are there waiting, and you bed in. You sort of look, you notice that Thorn, Bramble, Biscuit and Fixings find their own spaces and they're waiting. They actually don't wait in the building with you. Thorn just gives you a nod and then they walk off, and they actually go and hide down in the southwestern corner right behind those very low loose rocks.
Okay.
And the last thing Fixing says before he walks his way is, "Don't you worry, we'll get him away. Then it's up to you. We'll do our bit."
See you in shape, man.
They're going to come from the south,
heading
to the northeast.
Yes. So the rest of the party are hidden. The rest of you, you've essentially got like a day and a half's journey in a cart. Is there anything that you would like to do? You are kept in your prison cells. Drink and feed is fed through to you through the bars.
I'm gonna just try and find out how much is about old Mucker in the. He can't be crying for a day and a half. He'd be too dehydrated and shrivel up. We've all been there.
And he does. He cries so much. He just. No. So
he gets out of his manacles and he can save us. Yeah.
Hey. So eventually he starts. My name's Thomas.
Oh, Thomas. Thomas. You know, I knew a Thomas once, right? Bravest man I ever met, right?
We're gonna die.
There was this scarecrow in the fields, right? When we were kids, that no one could run up to because they thought it was a real omen, yeah. And Thomas in my village was the first one to run into it. And you know what he did? You know what Thomas did, right? He put the clothes on and then came running after us. And we all had a big laugh getting chased by the scarecrow. But what it did do was it taught us that the unknown was something that we feared. And until we knew it was just Thomas bounding around, none of us were scared of scarecrows ever again. All right? So
you
Thomas,
know what I did?
Tell me, did you put on a scarecrow outfit?
No, I stole 4 silver.
Exactly, right? But now we know what.
And now I'm gonna die in the circus.
Circus is fine.
Crying.
Circus is all right. Circus would have got animals and stuff in it.
It's not that sort of circus.
You know, there's like
It's got spears.
Octavius calls out, "Well, there are animals sometimes in the circus."
Octavius, you are a good 40 feet away. So the other thing I'd say, looking around, you are surrounded by 50 legionnaires at this point. So you are...
Yeah. I literally, like, I get nothing. I get nothing out of here. Nothing.
You also notice, Octavius, that the butcher has donned his plumed helm now, which, a little bit like a Spartan helm, comes down with 2 cheek guards, flares out a little bit in the Roman style, and has a single kind of mohawk, a little bit more ostentatious than we would assume of, say, Roman style. And he's got his giant sword on his back, and he is walking by your cart, and every now and then he's just got like a metal rod in his hand, just rangs it across the bars every time it looks like you're trying to rest or sleep. Doesn't talk to you, just ring. The carts are good, generally 20 feet apart, just to keep some distance. You've got legionnaires between you all, walking in very orderly procession. Again, Octavius and Six realise that these are professionals who are taking no risks. Octavius, you would know that this is too many people for a prison guard or a prison escort. You've seen prisoners escorted before to various places. This is definitely overkill, and you are 100% sure who's behind it.
In our cage, there's another prisoner, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, can I? And he's just wearing rags and so on, isn't he? We're traveling through the night.
Yeah.
So I think I might just, while we're doing that, I might just try and talk to him and just say, "Hello, my name's Faeza."
All right, yeah. How's it going?
Well, it could be better. But who
What are you in for?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. We had there was a break-in, but instead of the
Oh yeah,
thieves
being
getting,
very common.
well, they instead of them getting, we didn't do the breaking. We were the victims, and for some reason we got arrested.
Oh,
So,
well, that's a bugger, isn't it?
it is a bit. Yes, I think that when they found out who our friend was, that's when they decided, and I'm not entirely sure why. His name's Octavius. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything to you at all.
Pretty common name, innit?
I guess so. Octavius, Aquila. Yeah. Anyway, the
What did you do, friend, to end up in the same carriage as us?
Oh yeah, I'm a murderer, innit?
good.
Anything specific? We're all murderers of a kind.
Nah, it just
Are
was
we?
annoyed me, innit? Like, they had stuff, I wanted it. It was less about the stuff. More about I like stabbing, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I got my nickname. Got my own name and everything. Yeah, it's good.
Let me guess. Is it Stabber or something like that?
Stabber? Cool, wish I thought of that. I used to call myself Reginald. Which is weird, you know, because my actual name's Shifty, but I didn't really like that, so I thought, like, Reginald sounds dangerous.
Oh yes. Yes. I think that was a good choice.
Yeah.
Faeza's gonna kind of shift over away. Right. Okay. So, are you going to the circus as well?
Yeah, guess so.
Okay.
Oh, I've been there a few times, it's great. Oh, I like the fighting. Lots of blood.
I'm guessing as a spectator, or did you take part?
No, well, this time I guess I'm going to have to, aren't I? But yeah, first time combatant, you might say. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, Shifty, I have a feeling my brother...
Reginald, call me
Reginald, my mistake, Reginald.
Yes.
I have a feeling that my brother, he may help us out of the situation. So you may not get your wish to fight in the circus. Just be ready when the time comes. We may have to make a break for it.
I can do that. Yeah. Escape today, stab tomorrow. That's what I say.
Okay.
Sixsmith just waves it off. What can he say? You can't change a man's nature.
You ever
stabber's gonna stab.
Have you ever been to the quorum?
What's that?
The quorum, have I, by the way, DM? Has Sixsmith been to the quorum?
No, you've never heard of it.
Why don't you tell me what it is?
Circus is his actual name. Well, because like the circus is like, it's like, you know, like we're going to the match, you go into the circus. It's not actually its name. The one we're going to is a quorum populus. Yeah. Oh, it's lovely, it is. Oh, I had it renovated recently.
What makes it different to, and why is it so good? What's so special about it?
Oh, they're like, got like this special sand, right, from like someplace else, not around here. It's all like white. So when you're fighting in there, and you see all the blood, oh, lovely it is. Artful. White on
I've always preferred a spray of blood onto some plants, swaying in the wind. I'm a simple man.
Yeah, I can't see that. You see, like, I'm actually green colourblind, so it just all looks a bit grey when I look at it like that. But like the white and the red, oh, lovely contrast. Yeah, great.
I mean to offend. Stabber.
little
I
thing.
mean, Shifty. I mean, Reginald.
Shankar. I mean,
Yeah, you know, lovely it is. Yeah, oh. Well, obviously, if your brother can help us get out, that'd be lovely. But if we end up at the quorum, such is life, innit?
Well, that's it. I mean, that's a positive outlook.
Bex goes back to meditating. He's done now at the conversation.
Okay, well, maybe we'll try and get some rest. It was nice chatting to you.
Don't worry. I will look after you whilst you sleep.
Oh, good.
He
Thank you.
opens an eye. You know, I'd be careful what she tried to do with her mage hand to a guy who earlier on who upset her. It was very bad. So I'd be careful of this one.
Oh, I'll keep an eye on her. I will. Thanks for the tip. Yeah, good stuff.
And he just leans back. It's creepy because he's creepy, not in necessarily any other way than just this guy is. As
Standard
he is.
creepy carriage.
and that
prison
has
carriage
been
fare,
the
yeah.
fastest backpedal in Blood and Song history.
Can't change
Oh,
translation.
you rip a back pedal.
Right. So you do, for those who've taken damage by being kicked by guards, you do have a long rest over the next day. Again, it is not a comfortable rest, but you can choose to sleep. You push through the night. You get to the early morning itself. Dawn is rising bright. Octavius, can you make a perception check for me?
On mute. There we go. Dirty 20.
20. It's about the time that the butcher is just rattling your cages. Wake up, scum. You kind of wake, you stand, you look off just forward or kind of out round the side just as the road's bending, and you can see 500 yards away maybe just some ruins, small copse of trees. Much like the rest of the Darkwood Expanse, this place has been kind of very run down. You look up, the sky's grey this time of year, that's pretty normal. There's kind of lots of mud on the grass on the side of the roads, and you just try and do your best as the butcher's just making noises and just keeps running this thing back and forth over the metal bars.
I'd like to think I'm not rattled, but am I rattled? Am I just like ignoring it quite well?
Make either a charisma, wisdom, or constitution check. I'm going to say, depending on how Octavius sees his personality, is he someone who tries to think his way through in a wisdom way? Or is he someone who trusts his own nature in a charismatic way? Or is he just bullish in a constitution way? I will let you decide.
It's obviously that he tries to consider his options and think wisely and roll a 23.
Yeah, you know what he's trying to do. If you cared enough about him, it would bother you. The rest of you...
See, do you look like you're...
I was just going to say, when he's rattling, presumably, because was he doing that on Octavius's specifically?
Just Octavius's, yeah.
Can the rest of us hear it, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, when he's doing it and like trying to be annoying, because Seed's kind of hearing it, and at this point is kind of really feeling a little bit out of sorts with kind of missing their drum and feeling a bit like lost in what they're doing, starts really quietly rattling their chains every time the sword goes along, so it becomes kind of like ching, 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 and Seed's just slowly kind of getting into the rhythm of like trying to use what they have as like just this tiny little bit of percussion, and then starts kind of like humming to themselves.
Okay.
And just kind of doing this kind of very self-soothing kind of gentle bit of music in their cell.
Just roll me Arcana check as you're doing that, please.
Yes.
Yeah, and can you hear it? That's what I want to know.
16.
It's really difficult because the rattling of the bars by the butcher is not even. It's kind of got the annoying irregularity of a year 7 boy trying to play any rhythm. But it's...
Wow, burn.
The bitterness of an experienced music teacher.
Take that, 11-year-olds.
Yeah, why aren't you just naturally rhythmic? Sort your lives out. But despite that, you focus in. You've experienced some dark times before. Sometimes you felt lost. Sometimes you felt trapped. And the shaking and even the irregularity, it almost becomes like a cross rhythm for you. And somewhere within that, your mind manages to find a pattern. And as you're shaking and you start to hum, you feel a resonance in your voice that you didn't. You've sung. You learnt to sing from your mentor and things, but this is. You're starting to feel something. It's not quite fully fledged yet, but it just keeps you shaking, keeps you humming.
Okay, in which case, Seed would like to push it a little bit further, but try and slightly cover up what they're doing, so it's not super obvious that they're experimenting.
Okay.
So they're still going to kind of shake, but this time instead of kind of like just adapting it to the sword, they're just now focusing in on their own little rhythm, and they're going to try to see what would happen if they use this focus to very quietly kind of so is there like a spot in the set? Is there like somewhere that would be kind of hidden from the outside because of where we are? Anything?
It is literally a flat.
Or is it literally just totally?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of like what would be not totally obvious.
You could try and signal to me somehow to like hunch, like over.
I mean,
and,
if
like...
Six heard it, he would stamp his feet in rhythm because he would think that it's some kind of.
Make me a perception check then.
Oh, as in like try and work something out. Okay.
No, Sixsmith to see if he can hear this playing.
Because it's possibly like could possibly be a help action or something like that.
Is it a concealed spot in your own cage that you're looking for? Or
There are no concealed spots anywhere in these prison carriages.
even
12
a pile
on my
of stuff
perception.
that's between the driver and Octavius in with Toots and that lot.
So that is
We're
literally
not in that one. We're not in that one.
No.
So
Yeah,
Octavius is
we're-
in the open backed bit that's basically facing all the rest of you.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
as open as the rest of yours. It's behind him.
I've,
There is a steel wall, your belongings, and then the driver.
am I still wearing my cloak by any chance?
You are not.
Okay, fine. I want to just like, can you like, I don't know, can we like do something like this?
Well, I say, as you are all figuring stuff out, there is a mighty roar as the carts have pulled up in this time to right. I've now got to try and do this. I'll do that in a sec. You've pulled up, and you, Octavius, you just look out to your left, and can you make a perception check, please, Octavius? So you see it, and 6, you can make one as well.
I'm glad I have a high plus for this. 17.
Okay.
Dirty 20 for my check.
Lack, can you just roll a stealth check with advantage because you've prepared?
Yes, I can.
That's the dream for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I rolled a 15 and a 17, which gives me 24.
Yeah, you guys see nothing. And at that exact moment, the horse at the front suddenly pulls back as this massive explosion of fire goes off, and the horse literally stops. It hasn't actually hit the horse in a way to damage it because I like animals too much, but it is enough to startle it. At the same time, those wires that were stretched across the highway trip a few of the legions, and the rest of you hear, "To arms! We're under attack!" And they turn around, and you see, to all of you, 3 complete strangers just stand up from by some rocks to the south, pull out bows, fire off. You see an elderly-looking fox folk stand up, and her completely grey hair out. She just pulls her hands, and they're just covered in black energy, breathing, and she just 1, 2, 3 sends these bolts of a kind of black light tinged with purplish white around the outside, arching towards 3 of these legionnaires who get taken in the chest and stumble back. And then the 3 of them bolt. And the foxfolk fires one more set of 3 volleys and bolts. You all look around for a second, and the vast majority of the legionnaires disappear, leaving us on Foundry. You should now be able to see with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 legionnaires left guarding.
Still quite a few.
And the butcher, who goes,
Seed,
after
is there
them!
anything-
Oh, I'm staying with the prisoners. Seed, this is now the time where whatever you've been doing, what would you like to do?
Okay. So, to be fair, what I was going to do was just try and let off a pretty minor spell to see if it was going to work. So...
Change
Whatever
your
you'd like
mind
to
now.
Time to let off a major spell
Change it.
now.
I was going to say, this was not the plan.
Maybe you'll find you don't need that drum after all.
What I would say is you've been pretty intently focused on your rhythm. The explosion kind of opens your eyes enough for you to see what's happening. So you would have time to choose your spell, although I'd say it's possibly partially formed at this point. It's up to you.
So if we're still using what was already formed, then what's basically going to happen at this point is that Seed's spectral mage hand is going to appear inside their shirt because it's the only place they could think of that was less obvious about where it was.
Okay. And you feel your spectral hand pressing against your chest. I am going to ask Lak, can you take your surprise action as... I need everyone to roll initiative.
I'm not on the board, Johnny.
Oh.
You are on the board. You were just hidden behind the cart for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm underneath the cart.
This
I'll
cart
take it.
has been doing my head in the entire time I was there. I'm just going to move it off as the horse bolts suddenly to the side. It doesn't. So
It doesn't.
you are still currently
I'm still
in the cage.
yes.
I'm just moving it so I can see the token a little bit.
Okay, so surprise round.
Okay, just let me take the initiative order,
Yeah.
and then we can pick. So, I'm going to just roll all the legionnaires at once because it will be quicker. I need their stats block. There we go. And then the butcher. Ooh. Okay, right. It's 25 to 20.
20. Go on, Christine.
I have 20.
20.
25.
25. So, I don't know why I'm doing this. That's black. 15 to 20.
I got 15.
Okay.
Number 15.
10 to 15.
Yeah, I got 14.
And I got 13.
Okay. Up 6. And Seed, how do you do?
9.
9. Okay. And then Seed. Okay, so in the surprise round. Oh, I forgot to roll for Nimble.
It's Toots. Toots isn't in her cart. Just a heads up.
This is in my cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, everything's in
Well,
Octavius'
you're in
cart. at the
Toots' cart. Whatever.
moment. Get with it.
What?
Uh,
Calm down.
Lack, your
Say it,
surprise
say
round. What would
perspective.
you like to do?
Okay, well, I guess I shall bolt out of the south entrance. I see my brother, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to bolt out the south entrance of that cart.
Yeah.
Stand north of Faeza.
Okay. North of Faeza.
And as he does so, he stands there, throws his head back, and his spectral arms appear. And everyone within 10 foot I designate, which I believe is all 4 of those, need to make a dexterity save.
Okay.
That's not in us as well, is it?
No.
Oh, cool. Just
Oh, what's there plus? So I've got a plus 3. So 14, a 14, a 17, and a 5.
Brilliant. 3 fail, 1 save. So the ones
So the
that
one to the
fail
north succeeds.
take 6 force damage.
Okay. So that is your first action. Is that your bonus action? Or is that your action to do that?
Oh, I get another action, do I?
I was saying, is that your bonus action or your action?
That is a bonus action to do so.
Okay. So they take that. Next up then.
Put the music in front
Nimble.
of you for the first time ever.
Yay! You hear Nimble suddenly well, you don't see him. You just see 2 arrows fly out. One into the soldier, one of the legionnaires who's just been hit by your arms to the south of you, Lak. He is definitely going to hit with that one, but he does have advantage. Definitely hits with that one. So he gets a whole heap of dice.
Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie.
Plus the longbow. And he does... Oh, God. 5... Does 20 points of damage. As these arrows just... into the legionnaire who flies back, and you just see they've perfectly managed to pierce the points where his armor is joining his shoulder straps. He kind of cries and bends over, and that is it for the surprise rounds. Which brings us to the top of the round. Lak, you're up.
Okay, so I will attempt. How this cage?
Yep.
How what's it made of? What's it look like?
Iron. So it's basically iron doors, about 7 feet high, 10 feet long, or about 7 feet long in a cuboid. They're about... Your spectral arms could probably get around them.
Yeah. Alright then. So my forearms... Not my forearms. My forearms grab the bars and attempt to stretch them open.
Make me a strength check, please.
Now, it says one of the things about the astral arms is that I can use wisdom instead of strength.
And you can... It's a strength check with your wisdom mod, that's fine.
Okay.
I offer him help in that action.
No, because he's ahead of you in the turn order.
That, my friends, is a natural 20.
Yeah.
It's that bloody dice again.
Can I just say, my brother got me this dice for Christmas. He doesn't watch the stream, but if he did, I would thank him so much, because today it has been extraordinary.
Because you're saving your brother. That's how it works.
That's
man.
exactly what
the
it
dice
is.
knows.
And Six, you look up, you hear the sound of bowshot, and you turn to see these 2 arrows. And as you turn, you see your brother, the arms just bursting out of his back, grabbing them, and just pulls the bars aside. And with that thought, absolutely, it's not a large gap, but it is large enough for you to get through. This gap appears in the carts. Is that
You're
your
always
turn?
late. That's what Sixsmith says when he sees him. Always late you are.
You can. It's weird because even though the spectral arms are like they're not real, you can see his body, his chest is like really working hard, as if they're sort of balancing against that.
Okay, is that your turn?
Is that an action?
That is an action.
Okay then. I shall. Yeah, I think that's probably heroic enough. I'll leave him there. It's fair.
Okay. Faeza, you are up. After that, Rippy will need to be on deck. There's someone in between you.
I'd like to use my action to cast Prestidigitation.
Yeah.
To cast some voices. I've got Spell Sniper, which means the range can double, so it can be 20 foot away from me, rather than just what's the word? Rather than 10 foot. So I'd like to cast that so the voices come from the rocks, which are directly south of everybody, so away from Nimble and away from where Lak is.
Okay.
To see if I can distract some legions down.
Because we're slightly out of bounds of the realm of what the Prestidigitation spell can be used for, I'm going to say let's do this with an Arcana check to see how effective this is.
I got a 12.
Okay. Well, there are 2 legionnaires that are closest to it. Let's have them make perception checks. So one of them turns around, momentarily distracted by the sounds. The other one, however, you've seen him almost like a hoplite step back on one knee. Spear has come straight over and is hooked onto the shield and is advancing forward. One seems to not be noticed. So that is your action. You still have a bonus action.
Okay. My bonus action. Sorry, I'm not normally first. This is the first time I've ever been really early.
Whenever magic classes go up the top of the initiative order, they panic.
I'm panicking. It's all right. I think I'll just have to grab some. If the bars are open, I think
you've still got movement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go out, and I'm going to go to 5, 10, 15. I'm gonna go back into where Lack was. So I've got a bit of cover.
Okay.
So just in the what looks like might have been an entranceway.
That's 20 feet of movement to get in there.
Yeah.
2 guards, one of whom was distracted by your prestidigitation spell. The other one will have an attack of opportunity against you, but is absolutely going to miss.
Yay!
I mean, he had to
That's
go through
fine.
the bars, didn't he?
He did, so
Yeah.
it was attacking disadvantage. No, sorry, it's the one to the north. So as she ran
is it?
out north towards the house, there is a guard to the north there, or a legionary turn around and attack the spear, but he missed. Even without disadvantage, he'd missed. I will remind you all, currently your AC is 10 plus your dexterity,
You have no weapons.
as you are
No,
currently
well,
unarmed.
I've got my tools that I made overnight, so I can cast some spells.
You can cast spells, but currently,
So
just to
apparently
warn
I've
you all,
used all my action and all my.
your armor, your AC is currently lower.
It's 10. Cool.
10 plus your dex, whatever your dex score is, so you might want to keep a
right.
little scribble on that for tonight,
Yeah.
because it's so easy
Yeah.
to just look at the sheet and forget, aside from Lack, who has
probably
silly
going to
monk
be-
bonuses.
It's probably going to be. Oh no, it's
I
it's
just
a
took
little
mine
bit
off
lower
of
than my
D&D
normal
Beyond.
armor.
Just took my
Yeah.
armor off, yeah.
Yeah, also do it that way. Okay, next up is the Butcher, who looks at what's happening, goes,
Well, this is gonna be fun.
reaches over his back, and he just pulls off the sword, and it's a proper Buster Sword moment as this thing comes down, except instead of being really long and tall, this thing is literally just like a rectangle he's holding in front of him. It sort of looks like a tower shield almost, except it is completely flat aside from one serrated edge, and he's got that kind of crap armor that showy people would wear. There is just like 2 bits of leather going down to the metal circle. Looks vaguely like sex dungeon wear, and kind of scrolls down, and he's just got a red flowing cape, this sword, and then his mohawk. He's going to look around, and he's going to see the danger and just hold his action, which is him. Ripper, you are up next.
Right. The door to these cages, was it like a steel door? Do you reckon
Yeah.
it could be kickable?
You can certainly try.
Right, what I want to do, I want to use my bonus action to rally Thomas and Seed and be
Okay.
like, right, guys, what we're going to do on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, we're all going to kick at this door and we're going to try and break it open with all of our force, all together, right? And then Thomas, if you're worth more than 4 fucking silver, you can fight, or when we get these chains off you, you run and you get out. And then I guess for my action, I want to try and kick the door with other people, or do you want
So
me to
are you
hold
holding?
that to
Are you
see
holding your action to try and all kick together?
Yeah, I'm going to do that for the time being because there's nothing else I can really do.
Okay, so you hold your action. Octavius, you are up.
Okay, so I want to summon my spirit sort of 10-ish feet in the air north of the guard that attacked Faeza, so that he is just within a 10 feet range, if you know what I mean.
10 feet range of the guard or of you?
Of the spirit.
Okay, yeah, he is just within the 10 feet range.
Yeah, okay. So then he needs to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. If you Adam and Eve it, natural 1.
So he takes 2d6 fire damage, which is 8. He takes 8 fire damage. And then I'm going to command my spirit to range attack him with my bonus action.
Okay. Make your range attack then.
Which is... Where is it? There it is, +4. Yeah, it's 11.
Okay. So at this point, you spirit appears. The rest of you hear this loud crack. It's the loudest you've heard it, and the fire spirit is there. And can Lack, Faeza, and 6 just make me perception checks, please?
14 in total.
13. 13 in total for me.
9.
Okay. So anyone who gets over 13 is going to see Faeza, you just run and you've almost got your hands over your head, just trying to watch out for cover, ducking behind the wall. The others, you hear the crash, you look up and you see the bird. And every other time you've seen it, it's been like this tiny little flappy thing. And a bit like Lack's spectral arms, it's still exactly as you've always seen it. But as it attacks for a moment, it seems to kind of swell and the wings seem to extend further. The tail grows and almost like a crest starts growing from its head. And then fire shoots off it down towards the Legionnaire, who hears the crack, turns around, kind of patting his cloak out, which had started to catch flames, sees it and lifts his shield, which is the fire just cannons off and over him. And he is unharmed. That's your turn.
That is my turn. I'm stuck in the cage.
Okay. Nimble is up next, then Six, you're on deck after that. So Nimble is going to look around at what's going on, and he is essentially going to do the same thing. Pull out, you again just see 2 arrows fly out towards the soldier by Lack, and woo, natural 20. Roll all the dice. Oh my god, that is an insanely good roll. The lowest on any of those dice was a 5. That's going to come
Against me.
No, this is Nimble firing against the Legionnaire, who'd already taken 21 points of damage. That's going to do it, as he takes 41 points of damage, as the next arrow just straight through the neck and out. You just gurgle of blood as one Legionnaire just drops. And then Six, you are up.
Okay. What Six would like to do, and I just want to go over whether this is possible.
Go on.
He'd like to, because he'd like to do his bigger brother thing, and he'd like to step out of the carriage. He wants to say, look at Lack and say something like, it's not becoming to make such a big entrance, And then he wants to just borrow his spear, his returning spear, just reach for it and take it from him in a gentle motion that one brother might do to another, use it on somebody, and then give it back. That's basically what he wants to do. I don't know how it would work mechanically.
I would say that it's up,
Six would.
because whether Lack has it in his hands or not.
It's actually strapped to my back at the moment because I'm too busy pulling
Would
bars
he
apart.
lift it from you, Six? What do you reckon?
I'm tearing bars apart, so...
Because you know that he's not going to keep it. That's not his style.
Obviously, my brother, it wouldn't matter either way, would it?
Okay, I'm going to say if Lack is fine with it, then you can absolutely reach over, take it, and make an attack on an enemy.
Right, okay. And I don't really know how it works, and I almost don't want to know, because that's sort of, I've just seen it
Well,
happen.
essentially, Spear's got, with the return, it's got 10 feet reach, or has it got 30 foot reach? Because it becomes a melee thrown weapon. So I think it's 30
thrown,
feet.
So 20-60 is the range.
Okay, so you have a 20 feet range, so 4 squares, essentially. I would remind you that the 2 Legionnaires on the other side of the cart currently essentially have 3/4 cover because they are behind like a massive barred thing.
Appreciate that. I'll try and get the guy northeast is still there, isn't he, underneath the bird?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll try and get him with the spear. I don't know how you want me to roll for it, because I
You just make an attack roll, and this you add, you are proficient, so you would add your dex and your proficiency. As a soldier, you're proficient with all weapons.
Sean famously kills horses in our games, so I thought you might just go for one of those,
No, he hasn't upset me yet. If the butcher had a connection to his horse, I might have killed his horse just to enrage him. But he hasn't. I haven't seen any sort of evidence of that.
Okay.
Right. So sorry. Just because this is new to me, I normally just click a button. How would I roll?
It's basically you just roll. Roll. If you just click dex. So like you're rolling a dex check, and just add your proficiency to the end of that.
Wow.
Proficiency should be
that's
plus
21
2 at the moment. Yeah.
Plus my proficiency, which is held where?
The end of that
top.
row.
Should be plus 2,
Next
I think.
to your
Yes.
weapon speed.
Yes, there it is. Yeah.
So what was the total number, sorry?
23.
Yeah, that hits. So you can roll damage. This is spear, I believe 1d6, and it will be plus your dex score. So you can just roll a d6.
I think actually in this particular case, Johnny, because it's thrown, does it get its strength?
It's still a dex attack.
Okay. So that's a 4 on a straight 6 on a d6,
and what's your dex score?
My dex, which is +2. Yeah, is that it? The modifier.
Yeah.
Just +2 on my dex.
I think isn't there something about the infusion though? Just
so it gets an extra +1 on it essentially.
Yeah, I think so.
It's +1. So that becomes a total of 7 points of piercing damage. As the guy turns his back to ward off the flames, you choose that moment to have your little conversation. Throw off the spear. You just throw it, and it just arches straight into his back, and you hear a grunt before the spear disappears and shing reappears on Lack's back.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's exactly what it needs to do.
Lack looks at you, goes.
Six has a bit of respect. Like, oh yeah, fair enough. Oh yeah, pretty good enough.
Okay, so that's your action.
Yes, as a bonus, I think I want to turn to Reginald. I almost forgot his name, but I didn't. And I want to say something like, Reginald, we have I believe our armor and weapons are in the cart ahead. If you go to it and help us break it out, you may have one of my hand axes and you may fight alongside us. And I want to try and convince him to go to that and try and sort of get an easy access for our weapons.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay. My persuasion check is 12.
Okay, we'll find out what happens on his turn.
Right, and then in terms of movement, I think I will move. I want to move as close to the. So in the front cart we have our equipment.
I would
right?
say, just because obviously you'd see it if you were there, the legionnaire who's just gone down has dropped his spear and has a short sword in a sheath. As a soldier, you're obviously going for your weapons, but you are proficient with everything, so you could reach down and grab either his spear or the short sword. Both are d6s. The short sword you can use strength or dex. The spear is a dex weapon.
Okay, I think the sword is best for me. I think I'd pick up both and then I'd hoik the. Oh, can I? Okay. No, because I've run out of actions and bonus actions.
Yeah, I say this is very much like something you can do on your movement. You can just reach down.
Surge.
Okay. I do have an action surge, but what I might do is next round I might try and get his other weapon to somebody else. So yeah, no, I'll sweep up the sword.
Okay.
And will I have to stop there, or can I do it in movement?
You can do it as part of your movement.
Okay, yeah, I think I'll do that, and I'll grab the sword and I'll run to as close to the cart as I can without
Which carts?
The cart with our armor and weapons in it.
Okay, just gonna move that one so I can just delete your token. Okay, so you've got
I can't see it, but
5,
I trust like I can
10,
avoid some of them.
So you can get 10 feet before you essentially start triggering opportunity attacks, or you can carry on running past them and risk the attacks.
It's a tough one. Well, okay, Dan's saying no. I don't know really. Okay.
So you do the soldierly thing of running into the middle of the melee and kind of taking a position with your sword. You're in your lovely bright green coat, but you don't have your armor strapped to the top of it, so you look stylish as fuck. But you are very much surrounded.
You don't want to be running past people with no armor on, my friend.
Okay, all right, okay. I'll end my turn here, and at the point where I could possibly, if need be, pick up the spear and give it to someone at a later point. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So it's the Legionnaire's turn now. This one sees the Firebird and sees you, Six. It's trying to judge which one to attack. It is gonna look at both and then just swing back at the Pilum with you, and it rolls on its attack roll. Plus, okay, so only rolls a 9. So as this spear comes back towards you, you just manage to negligently push it away with the sword and take your guard stance again. Even though it's a shorter sword, you're not used to fighting with the gladiators, it's strangely weighted. You're experienced enough that you see this common guy go for you. The guy from behind you is going to step around the horse, and he is going to go at you. And he has advantage because he's flanking. I just got a double 1. Brad, what have you done?
To get that.
And so at the same time you knock that, you spin round and you almost do like a kick on the other guy's knee before he can stab in, so the spear just stabs into the dirt.
Used to be a guard, but I took an arrow to the knee.
We've all got married. All right. The guys to the south are basically stepping up to the cart where Ripper and Seed are currently held actions. Ripper, you're currently not... doesn't look like you're doing anything to them, so they are just guarding. They're not rushing into the fray. The ones at the front, however, absolutely gonna... One is also gonna run up to Seed... to Six. The other one is going to rush back to Octavius, rush around the side of the cart so he can see him. So one more is going to make an attack at you, and rolls a 7 plus... Where's my plus? So it's a 10. What's your AC?
Who's he attacking? Me?
Yeah.
No, he misses.
Woo! So a third one comes in. So you've done deflect, kick, and as the other one comes in, you just punch straight in the nose as he runs in. He just staggers back a bit.
You know, one of those punches where you have the sword in your hand as well, but you punch with the sword hand. One of those.
Absolutely.
Yes,
It's some pretty
brother.
smooth shit.
The pommel strike.
Pommel strike, absolutely. And that brings us to Seed.
So Ripper's had a chance to obviously tell us what he wants to do.
And I'm holding an action for this turn, so...
Do I have to hold to wait for the other guy?
Essentially, they are directly after you, so I'm going to say that this can happen simultaneously.
Okay. In which case, yeah, I'm happy to run forward and help Ripper kick the door as a kind of simultaneous action.
Okay.
For flavour, although I know this is not allowed to affect the roll in any way because I have checked the spell rules and this just wouldn't function, but for flavour, can my mage hand come out of my shirt Cousin It style and then punch the door as we kick it?
Absolutely, it can. I love it. Anything with Cousin It's going to get me on board. I'm all about Cousin It. Okay, so you have a choice, party. You can either roll a strength check individually, and Thomas can roll one with you, or one of you can roll with advantage.
Let's all roll. Let's all roll. I think that's fair. Let's all roll.
Share the risk.
Hopefully
share the reward.
He's talking about everybody in the cell, basically.
In that cell, yeah.
I rolled high.
Thomas did not.
I got a 17 strength
17?
check.
Seed, how did you do?
I got a 19.
Nice.
Okay, well that is 2 out of the 3 over the DC of an iron bar. So I'm going to say...
the mage hand that helped that, though.
Absolutely.
100%.
There's this moment where Ripper, I'm assuming you're kicking it.
I feel like I went, for those of you that do yoga, I went into like happiest baby. And then I'm just going to throw my entire body like forwards, like legs out. Because obviously I know they're chained together as well. So I'm going to try and push them with the feet.
So as they come out, yes, they absolutely kick through the bars. At the same time, Seed, are you kicking?
Yeah, so I'm also going to basically having to do the same thing because obviously like we're literally manacled. So it's
like
very
this double
much just
drop
like
kick.
a crunch and...
It's like the best WWF late 90s Hardy Boys teamwork combo as this drop kick. Thomas just runs at it. He didn't really get the memo and pushes with his hands and he sort of bounces off. And you can just, there's that moment as you kick where you feel like the door's about, no, is it gonna go? And then the mage hand just punches it, and that's the last little bit that just tink, it pops off the locks, and it doesn't come completely off, but it bends and folds forward enough that you feel like you could scrabble over that. It's possibly difficult terrain, but you could get out if you wanted to.
I mean, who's Matt Hardy and who's the one that no one remembers?
Tom Hardy, isn't it? Isn't it Matt and Tom? Yeah. I don't
Tom
know.
Hardy. The
Not that
actor
one.
Tom Hardy. Oh, yeah,
Different one.
different one. Okay.
Okay, it is the prisoner's turn. So that was obviously Thomas's held action happening simultaneously. Reginald is going to see the gap. He's going to absolutely jump through it, which is... Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to move these carts a second. Sorry, folks. Jump through, and then he is going to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30... run round through the building. At the moment, you don't know where... Well, actually, no, he's got his action, because that's his movement. He can use his action to 5, 10. He's going to get up right in, kind of trying to jump up onto the cart. We'll find out what happens there. next time. We're back to the top of the order, and I'm going to call it there tonight because I've just noticed the time and I feel this may go on a while.
Yeah, it's not going to be a quick one.
It's
just heating up.
Definitely not. So I'm going to just.
It was Taj just informed us it was Jeff Hardy, Matt and Jeff.
Jeff, thank you. It's clearly Tom Hardy. That's how forgettable Jeff Hardy was.
And how blisteringly good Tom Hardy is that he just inserts himself into everything.
Well,
Hardy
I now
boy.
want to see Matt and Tom Hardy as a wrestling duo. I don't at all. So, ladies and gents, we are going to call it there for the evening. I think fun's a tough one for tonight. It's been quite tense, but at least we're in a position now where the prospect of freedom is again on the horizon. If you can survive.
Don't tease us with
Wind
that,
with the
Johnny.
prospect of death as well, I expect, with that huge dude over there with his massive
Well, it's only his horse that's massive.
And his giant swords. It's fine. So, ladies and gents, we hope you've enjoyed tonight. It took us a little while to get here. There was quite a few things to work through. That was a very tricky situation. I think we'd all agree the party did quite well, not enacting some half-baked mad plan that I was expecting. It was very hastily
We know better by now. We know better.
Feel free to do what you like. But we will
I was
pick
so close to turning into a mouse and going to find our weapons. So close.
Oh man, yeah.
It would have been great. There's still time.
I would say if you've got any ideas of what we should be doing next in the combat session, if you think I know a way out of this, let us know in the socials. That was what I would recommend.
And where can they find those socials, Sean?
Blood Song Party, probably. I can't remember. Ryan normally does this. what are they?
Well, come on then, Ryan.
Sort it out, but Ryan remembers.
So as we just said in this episode, trying to do the older brother thing. Sean has successfully done that by trying to take my job. You can find us on Twitter at Blood Song Party or Facebook and Instagram at Blood and Song. That is spelled AND instead of the ampersand, which a few people have asked me because they haven't been able to find us. YouTube is Blood and Song. I found actually to beat the algorithm, if you search Blood and Song Erionwel, you get in there. Otherwise, you get some weird stuff on YouTube.
Get weird rappers and rap songs and things like
that.
The
Erionwel is ERIONWELL.
There you go.
No, sorry, single L. I do not have to spell the world I invented.
We'll cut this out.
Can I have a constant, please, Johnny?
But yeah, so you can find us. If you want to beat algorithms, you can search for Blood and Song Erionwel. That helps us. We want to get some Twitch affiliate status. So we need to get 50 followers on Twitch, and we're going to do a special dress-up episode. I've ordered Ripper's cape. It is incredible.
He shows a little sneak peek of the material. It looks amazing.
It does look very cool.
It's going to be good. So we need you guys to share us when you go to those socials. You need to subscribe. You need to get involved.
All that stuff that everybody hates saying.
Guys.
But
Ryan loves saying it.
Ryan loves saying it.
True.
But if you guys have your socials as well, and you want us to follow you, we'll follow you in return. We don't mind some cross promotion. We don't mind supporting other sort of ventures that are out there, right? Christine,
there's a scheme. It's on Instagram, but it's also called Share Small. Which is on Saturdays normally. So if you want a promotion and you want to promote us in exchange, I think let's support each other and see if we can get some people to listen to the good stuff we're all doing. That should be cool.
And if you want to tell me that I'm just being horrendously harsh with not letting cantrips without spell focuses, please don't. But you can absolutely drop me a line through Blood and Song Twitter. We'll happily have a chat. I'm normally quite active on Twitter, as is Dan. If you'd like to be on the gram, as the kids I assume call it, I'm far too old to use it.
That's a drug. That's a unit of measurement for drugs.
Right. I think it's just a unit of measurement.
I think it's more the drugs.
Right. Okay. Ryan is very active on
drugs.
Insta.
I'm on Instagram. He's very active on the gram and on Instagram as well.
Also, there's some of the snowmen we were talking about before the episode fully started. There's some pictures of that on our Instagram if you want to go check those out, and on our Twitter.
And if your mates want to catch up on it, but they're like, I can't sit down for 2.5, 3 hours in one go, watch these sexy people. It's just too much. It's 3 hours of too much sexy on screen. How can I just have them straight in my ears as a podcast? On Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
It's anywhere.
Any
anywhere.
Pour us
Podcast.
directly in your ear like a tincture. some sort of remedy that you require
Exactly.
for your
I'm not
difficulty.
sure
I had a friend
where this is heading.
I had a friend send me a screenshot of he's downloaded all 60 episodes so far to listen to.
Are we up to 60 episodes?
We're beyond
If you
60
chop-
episodes,
no, it's
actually.
not
Oh my
gone that
God.
fast. If you chop them up, it's 60. Yeah.
Because they're only 30 minutes, which is perfect for a virtual commute. And a virtual commute is when you are getting out of bed, going to making a cup of tea, sorting out anything else, and then you go upstairs
People
to
take
your.
Some of
half
us,
an hour to do
some of
that?
us
Yeah,
still have
some
to
of us
travel
do.
to work.
Yeah.
Christine knows.
Wake up to us in the morning. That's
Some
the
of us are
that's
still
the tagline.
travelling, so those of you who are still travelling as well, you can
Well,
also listen to
in
it.
times of darkness and sorrow and loneliness, it is traditional among every culture in the world to have a story tale or a legend or a myth that can help inspire hope of heroes, heroism, and a brighter tomorrow. And I would like to think that maybe we could do that. So,
Funnier.
At least one of those things. At least one of them.
One.
just two cops, just one
Just
hope.
cops.
Well, if you have any problem with anything that's happened, any decisions that Johnny makes, his address is. You can find him. His address is.
Oh.
Not happening.
Very
Muted.
good.
Yeah,
Very
nice.
good.
So
He's not actually saying it because there's going to be some lip reading.
it's fine. We all know there's no way he remembers what my address
Yeah,
is.
he cannot. He cannot
No,
remember the
I
address.
don't remember my own address. I don't remember yours,
It's fine.
man. Don't worry.
That muting saved you from having to re-roll a new character next week. It's fine. Well,
I,
with
I
that
bet
being
it
said,
won't. I bet it won't save us from that.
the dice are fickle masters. With that being said, well done tonight, folks. That was a tough one. You're now in a situation where you are in charge of your destiny again, which is good. And to everyone at home, may your week be wonderful. Please do check us out, like, subscribe, share, and we will see you soon. So wherever you are, may the Great Mother guide you in all that you do. Good night, folks.